Start living life on your terms. Build your dreams. Reach your goals. Change your future. Heal your community. With over 440 open locations, Physical Therapy and Balance Centers is the #1 physical therapy franchise and the leader in vestibular and balance therapy. Join the healthcare revolution. To learn more about franchise opportunities, visit physicalfranchise.com.
When it comes to orthopedics, we've done something extraordinary here along Chicago's North Side lakefront. We've gathered experts in every orthopedic specialty to create the Chicago Center for Orthopedics at Weiss Memorial Hospital. Weiss Memorial Hospital was the first in the Chicago area to receive the Joint Commission's Gold Seal of Approval for hip and knee joint replacements. From hips to hands, from spine to feet, our specialists offer surgical and non-surgical care for all types of orthopedic problems and revisions. If you're ready to start living without pain, the orthopedic experts at the Chicago Center for Orthopedics at Weiss Memorial Hospital can help. Request an appointment today.
The reason for this video has nothing to do with Tony La Russa's decision to walk Trey Turner earlier this month. Well, it mostly doesn't have to do with that. TLR's managerial decision to intentionally walk Turner after getting ahead of him 1 ball and 2 strikes was probably the most questionable
When it comes to orthopedics, we've done something extraordinary here along Chicago's North Side lakefront. We've gathered experts in every orthopedic specialty to create the Chicago Center for Orthopedics at Weiss Memorial Hospital. Weiss Memorial Hospital was the first in the Chicago area to receive the Joint Commission's Gold Seal of Approval for hip and knee joint replacements. From hips to hands, from spine to feet, our specialists offer surgical and non-surgical care for all types of orthopedic problems and revisions. If you're ready to start living without pain, the orthopedic experts at the Chicago Center for Orthopedics at Weiss Memorial Hospital can help. Request an appointment today.
This is tomorrow. Tomorrow, very early, someone will go on her first ever run. Right after, Shelly-Ann will run the 100 in under 10 seconds. By lunchtime, a shoe will grow from a seed. The WNBA will surpass the NBA in popularity. This tennis legend will launch her own video game. Also, tomorrow, we will all finally respect athletes' mental health. A woman will run a marathon on Mars. Tomorrow, we will celebrate new champions. And one sport is declared a human right. Tomorrow, we'll go really crazy. Marie Antoinette will score 7 in 7 minutes. Guy will land a 16-20. LeBron will score 120, and I don't know what this is, but it looks amazing. Of course, the internet will break. Well done, tomorrow. Can't wait to see what's next.
The reason for this video has nothing to do with Tony La Russa's decision to walk Trey Turner earlier this month. Well, it mostly doesn't have to do with that. TLR's managerial decision to intentionally walk Turner after getting ahead of him 1 ball and 2 strikes was probably the most questionable managerial decision since Grady Little allowing Pedro Martinez to pitch at Yankee Stadium during Game 7 of the 2003 ALCS. But while the decision looks awful on paper, his reasoning wasn't completely flawed.
I guess at 1-2 is the question at the count.
Do you know what he hits against left-hand pitching? With 1-0-1 or 2 strikes, you know what he hits? Well, do you know what Muncy hits with 2 strikes against left-hand pitcher? I mean, is that really a question? Because it was 1 and 2? Turner with a strike left against a left-hander is not something you can avoid if you can. And we had an open base, and Muncy happened to be the guy behind him, and that's a better matchup.
In case the average baseball fan doesn't research analytics, Bennett Sousa really only has 1 strikeout pitch. In fact, according to Baseball Savant, he only throws 2 pitches, a slider and a 4-seam fastball. His 4-seamer is basically useless, as opposing hitters are batting .438 against him whenever he uses it. It's definitely not a strikeout pitch, as he only has a 2.6 strikeout percentage when he uses the 4-seamer. In La Russa's view, he probably thought that Sousa had one chance to either jam Turner or strike him out with his much better slider. Remember, Turner has a great chance of being a 2002 All-Star starting shortstop if Turner lays off the 1-2 slider. Would Sousa try to throw a fastball or slider on 2-2 and or 3-2? Who's to say Turner, who's having a much better year than Max Muncy this season, doesn't drill a 2-2 fastball over the fence for a 2-run homer? A manager can't live in fear, which is why Sousa was sent out there to face Turner in the first place. But if Sousa is on the mound to face Turner, why can't he finish
their warm-up? 28 minutes to go before the game. So how's that make sound? Pretty good?
Again, it's a very weird situation.
Okay.
I'm guessing that La Russa trusts too much in the analytics and feared that Turner, a great ball player, would know to lay off the 1-2 slider. Sousa could in theory deliver another slider on 2-2, but then who's to say he doesn't hang the slider in the middle of the zone? The manager and pitcher can't live in fear and second-guess themselves. I'm guessing La Russa panicked and didn't want Sousa to waste pitches in case Turner would get back into the count and force a walk, foul off pitches, or drive a base hit through the infield. And the more pitches that Sousa throws, the more susceptible he is to getting tired and maybe giving up an extra base hit to Turner. I bring up the Trey Turner-Bennett Sousa dilemma because it just shows how La Russa seems to have aged out of baseball. He trusts the analytics too much because the analytics are supposed to be approved by everyone. He wants to be a hip baseball manager, but he's out of place when it comes to trusting in one's gut versus trusting in the analytics. There needs to be a steady balance of trusting the stats and knowing their players, and with La Russa, the Sox look like a far cry from the up-and-coming ball club during the end of the Rick Renteria regime. A year after White Sox GM Rick Hahn moved on from manager Rick Renteria, the White Sox look just as bad as the 2020 playoff collapse, probably even worse. A disastrous 10-1 loss in Game 4 of the 2021 American League Division Series showed White Sox fans that Rick Renteria probably wasn't the problem. So was Tony La Russa the solution? It sure didn't look like it against the Houston Astros. And before I go into what happened during last season's playoffs, let's first evaluate the weird happenings of 2022. The Sox just feel like a ball club destined for mediocrity. Stuck in the quicksand of baseball purgatory, the Southsiders feel like the early 2000s White Sox who couldn't compete with the grinder Minnesota Twins. The current Twins, like those early Ron Gardenhire-led teams, don't have a big power hitter besides Byron Buxton. But, like Christian Guzman, Torrey Hunter, and the Twins teams from 20 years ago, the 2022 Twins can score runs in clutch situations and find ways to win, despite their ridiculous amount of injuries this season. Average baseball fans probably don't know anybody on this Twins team besides Carlos Correa and the aforementioned Buxton, but Luis Arias is probably the unknown star of this team. He's batting an unreal .346 and has 8 more walks than strikeouts this season. Gilberto Celestino is also silently batting .283 and 138 official at-bats. Like Jerry Manuel's White Sox, who had Frank Thomas, Carlos Lee, Paul Konerko, Magli Ordonez, and others on the roster, the Twins don't pound the ball like the Sox, but they can still beat the Sox into submission, as evidenced by Minnesota's sweep of Chicago during April at Target Field. Furthermore, when we made this video, they're 7-0 against the Pale Hosers since last August. As of June 7th, the Twins had 3 starting pitchers on the injured list, with Joe Ryan briefly being on the COVID-19 reserve list. So for all of the White Sox fans who blame the slow start on injuries, that's hardly the case. The Twins have earned the right to be in first place. Every team has injuries, and Minnesota has quite possibly had it worse than the White Sox. Please stop complaining about, if only Eloy Jimenez was healthy. The Sox aren't playing good baseball, that much is clear. And by the way, that triple play base running blunder against the Twins has nothing to do with La Russa. But it still doesn't escape the fact why it took TLR so long to move Andrew Vaughn up in the order. B, why Leury Garcia once batted in the 3-hole. And C, why it took La Russa so long to give Danny Mendick a shot at second base when Josh Harrison clearly wasn't getting it done. Mendick was on the postseason roster last season, by the way, so he could definitely play at least a little bit. The Sox lost during last season's ALDS against the Astros, but the way they lost that series just shows how this team is not great against hard-nosed and dynamic offenses. By the way, Chicago entered the 2021 ALDS after dumping all 4 in the toilet when they last played at Minute Maid Park in Houston. Yes, I know that the Astros have been to the AL Championship Series every year since 2017, but the postseason moves by La Russa were questionable to say the least, especially for a guy who's supposed to be an expert tactician and clubhouse leader. For starters, why was Lance Lynn starting in Game 1 when his all-time career against Houston is very lackluster? Remember, Lynn knows Houston very well since he used to pitch for the Texas Rangers. After a terrible start in Game 1, Lynn's ERA ballooned to .441 all-time against Houston. Even worse, the Astros now have a .441 slugging percentage whenever Lynn pitches. It doesn't matter too much since Lucas Giolito pitched in Game 2, but momentum is everything in a short series. Would things have been better if Giolito pitched Game 1? Probably not, but going down in a 1-0 series hole isn't a good start against a great franchise like Houston. Giolito came to the series red hot, so it wasn't outside the realm of possibility for Giolito to pitch in Game 1. Another questionable decision in Game 1 was having Robert steal second base with 2 outs. The stolen base came just several pitches after Luis Robert got hit by a pitch, and for a minute there, it looked like he had to leave after getting drilled at home plate. Why would La Russa tell Robert to steal second head first when he just got hit by a pitch near his wrist? The steal sign was most likely his call since there were 2 outs. Robert could have easily re-injured himself, and stolen bases just aren't as important anymore due to the analytics of baseball. Arson Martin Maldonado is a fantastic thrower for behind home plate with an excellent pop time. Not smart baseball, Mr. La Russa. With all that in mind, a lot of base runners steal bases head first instead of feet first anyway, so blaming La Russa for Robert going hands first is not entirely fair since Robert might have done it on his own. Game 2 was La Russa at his worst. Up by 2 runs, he chose to go with Garrett Crochet out of the bullpen instead of Michael Kopech. Keep in mind that Kopech didn't even pitch in Game 1, whereas Crochet pitched the day prior and wasn't even that good. In his 1-inning work in Game 1, Crochet gave up 3 hits at MLB's best offense. With runners at first and second, Crochet relieved Giolito and was clearly tired from pitching on Thursday. Crochet walked his first batter, Jordan Alvarez, to load the bases. On an 0-2 count, Crochet left a juicy fastball in the middle of the plate to tie the score. Would Kopech have done better in the spot? He was definitely fresh from not pitching in Game 1. Once again, a controversial decision from La Russa. The worst decision by far was taking his best defensive outfielder out of right field and putting the utility guy in Leury Garcia at the 9 position. Why is Adam Engel in the lineup if you're going to take him out eventually? Because of his defense, Engel should be a late-game addition, not a subtraction. The baseball gods know La Russa's horrendous decision, which of course means Leury Garcia taking a terrible route on Carlos Correa's line drive. Correa's frozen rope made it 7-4, and the Astros were now in business. Kyle Tucker's subsequent 2-run homer put the game away, but the game was clearly lost because Adam Engel wasn't in right field. This is a very minor point because Dallas Keuchel stunk after the All-Star break, but Keuchel used to pitch for the Astros. He was even a major contributor during their 2017 World Series winning ball club. Danny Mendick took Keuchel's final spot in the postseason roster. He never played a single inning against the Stros. For a team who's borderline desperate for someone to eat innings, Keuchel would have been a nice option during these bullpen games. The entire starting rotation for the Sox couldn't get it done, but Keuchel's history with the Astros and knowing their lineup might have made a slight difference on the mound when Crochet and Kopech were evidently tired. Andrew Vaughn should probably never have started a designated hitter the entire ALDS, as he entered the series in a 9-for-79 slump in his last 80-plus plate appearances. La Russa went with the overrated right-handed batter versus lefty starter matchup in Game 2, even though this data has its flaws. The playoffs are all about playing your best player every game, and Gavin Sheets was clearly the better option all series long. Vaughn is a much better player in 2022 than his 2021 counterpart, but in 2021, it was definitely a platoon situation between Sheets and Vaughn. La Russa's decision to play Lurie Garcia over Adam Engel in Game 3 turned out to be the right one, as Lurie saved the Sox this season with a 3-run bomb to straight center field. However, Game 4 was the icing on the cake, and while La Russa should no longer be the skipper, with the bases loaded and 2 outs, La Russa allowed Carlos Rodon to pitch to postseason legend Carlos Correa. Remember, Rodon had to miss several starts that season due to throwing shoulder concerns. Rodon's breaking ball had 0 bite to it as he walked the previous 2 hitters prior to Correa's at-bat. A.J. Pierzynski, a former legendary White Sox catcher who was on color commentary duties during the FS1 broadcast, voiced his concerns about keeping Rodon in the game.
This is a situation where I'm surprised Kopech's not in the game right here.
Is Pierzynski a Hall of Fame manager? Nah, not even close, but he is a former catcher who can tell when a pitcher isn't right or is laboring. He also caught Philip Umber's perfect game in 2012. Knowing that his offense has struggled most of the series, why wasn't Kopech in the game in that bases-loaded situation? More importantly, why was La Russa so reluctant to go to Kopech all series long? Just a lot of head-scratching decisions from a 77-year-old manager. Rodon clearly was only going to give you 4 innings at most in Game 4, so why not bring in Kopech to maintain the 1-0 lead? The Sox needed to keep the lead to give their struggling offense some confidence, even if it was just 1-0. That being said, the Sox scored 1 run in half of the ALDS games. Besides the excellent performance in Game 3 and a 5th-inning rally in Game 2, the offense was pretty much a non-factor. The starting pitching was even worse, as Rodon was the only starting pitcher to not give up a run through the game's first 2 innings. Simply put, the Sox got dominated in every facet of the game, including the managing component. However, the hiring of La Russa was highly controversial due to his stances on players who protest the national anthem and his agreement with the immigration policy in Arizona. Furthermore, he hadn't managed in 10 years, and his 2 driving under the influence arrests were bad publicity for the White Sox public relations team. Finally, Renteria's team won a playoff game during the very weird COVID-19 season. All 3 of those White Sox playoff games were on the road, by the way, with the Sox being very competitive in all 3 games. Renteria was also a Spanish-speaking manager who could relate to the Hispanic ballplayers in the clubhouse. He's from Cuba, as is Yoan Moncada and Jose Abreu. However, he clearly mismanaged his bullpen towards the end of 2020, with the playoff series against Oakland being a practical debacle. He took his starting pitcher out in the first inning of Game 3 against the Athletics, when Dunning wasn't nearly that bad to back up such a move. In came La Russa, but the Sox looked even worse in the playoffs than Renteria's crew did in 2020. The Sox won Game 3 against Houston, but they still had to come back from an early 5-1 deficit. Simply put, the Sox were overmatched from the opening pitch, and some of that comes with La Russa's managerial decisions. But would the Sox be a better team without La Russa? There's always hope. The 2003 Miami Marlins fired their skipper during the season and then ended up winning the World Series with Jack McKeon. It's October 23rd, 2005. The Chicago White Sox are hosting Game 2 of the World Series against the Houston Astros. Tied 6-6 in the bottom of the 9th inning. Leadoff hitter Scott Podsednik is at the plate, and while Podsednik went to the All-Star game earlier this season, Sox manager Ozzie Guillen is definitely not anticipating a walk-off home run finish to this particular ballgame. The Sox lead 1-0 in the series, but a potential 2-0 series edge, or the game potentially going into extra innings, is just a taste of the drama both teams have experienced lately. This is just the 2nd World Series game in Astros franchise history, and for the White Sox, last night's Game 1 win was the ball club's first World Series victory since Game 5 of the 1959 Fall Classic. Houston, meanwhile, is still looking for its first ever World Series win. Therefore, a lot is riding on this 2-1 pitch, so let's rewind. Scott Podsednik, sometimes known simply as Scotty Pods by fans of the Southsiders, is starting to become a fan favorite. The White Sox had a formidable lineup of Carlos Lee,
Welcome to the pregame show brought to you by Sports Broadcast Solutions. My name is Kyle Smith. My name doesn't matter. This man matters. Adam Mann, one of the co-captains of the Chicago House team, as they're about to take on Berber City FC in a crucial matchup of the Midwest Premier League. Adam, it doesn't get much better than this. It's Saturday night soccer right across the street, basically. Chicago White Sox baseball. It's a big night game as you're trying to get to first place in the conference.
Yeah, it's everything you can ever ask for. It's not too hot. So it's going to be under the lights, in an hour or so, and it's two good sides. We've had ups and downs in our league position, but don't let it fool you that Berber are a good side like we are, and I think we're putting a show tonight. It's going to be interesting.
One of the old sayings in sports is the glass half full or the glass half empty mentality. You guys only have one loss, but you also have 5 draws. Does that get to you a little bit, or are you kind of happy that you only have one loss on the season?
It doesn't get to you. It's just disappointing because we know we're a championship side. And we set standards, and when we don't hit them, it doesn't affect us. That's not the right term. It's just, unfortunately, in results business, it shows in the league table. So, we can put it right tonight. We're going to go for our 10th and beat and run, hopefully with a win, and put on an enjoyable match more than anything.
Berber City's been struggling in the standings. You guys are favored in tonight's matchup. What's it going to take for a victory today?
Just in the Chicago House way. That's what we're building as an identity. Where we started and where we began, where we're finishing, we're miles different. We're miles better as a team. The chemistry's there now. We've got a lot of new players that's all gelled. We've got a couple more that are doing their debut tonight. So you'll see that we're going to bring our identity and show Berber what we're about, and I'm sure they're going to do the same. But first and foremost, we got to earn the right to win.
What does it mean to you? You guys haven't lost a game since that 1-0 loss in the opening game of the season to Steel City.
It's a great achievement for sure, but because of the dropped points, it doesn't feel that way. We know we're a championship side, so we take the draws as a loss. It's 2 points dropped. So that's our mentality going into this league, and even though we're not quite where we want to be, if we finish strong tonight, we can show everyone where we're going to be next year.
Last question. People that aren't familiar with how playoffs work in the Midwest Premier League, how does that work?
So I believe the playoff system with this is just like a straight shootout. I think the person who wins it, that's the whole thing. But usually it's normally like the top 2, and then they face off with the East and South.
Big time. So it's huge to get that victory tonight.
Oh, massive. We want to finish on a high. I think we can get second or third, depending on results, but we'll see. But yeah, for sure, we're going to finish on a high and show everyone what we got.
All right, Adam, good luck. That's Adam Mann. That does it for our pregame show. We'll see you for the play-by-play broadcast here on Sports Broadcast Solutions.
Hey, this is Sarah Greenfalk, owner of PsychEdge. How would you like to learn how to manage your emotions and reactions in order to enhance your performance and be successful in life? I coach and counsel student athletes, performers, and professionals, giving them the mental skills and mindsets to build confidence and resilience. My background in physical therapy, massage therapy, personal training, and 15 years of counseling give my clients an advantage. So if you are wanting to be recruited, perform better, or struggling with life balance, anxiety, or depression symptoms, I will stand by you until we reach your goals. Contact me today, sarah@aimtogrow.com, and be sure to visit my website, psychedge.club, for your monthly blog on mental health, sport, and performance psychology tips.
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. At SBS, we offer a professional broadcasting experience for the non-professional athlete. Just like the pros, we offer everything for you. Play-by-play commentary,
A no-hitter at Kane County Stadium. 15 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 error, and that's it.
Color commentary, highlight reels, recruiting videos, and much, much more. Unlike our competitors, we zoom in on the action and always have a live scoreboard with a live time code. If you're ready to have your next sporting event feel like CBS Sports, then make sure to call Sports Broadcast Solutions today. Our phone number is 330-957-7653, or you can go online to sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone. It's May 26, 2002. Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals is taking place between the Sacramento Kings and the Los Angeles Lakers. With the Lakers down by 2 in less than 10 seconds remaining, one of the NBA's winningest franchises is very close to succumbing to an insurmountable 3-1 deficit. And while the Kings are in a great spot to win on the road, they probably shouldn't even be in this extremely stressful situation. If the Kings can hold on for the win, they'll be one step closer to reaching the NBA Finals for the first time in over 50 years. All they need is a defensive stop without fouling. And for the Lakers, they need a clutch contested shot to avoid losing their second straight home game against their in-state rival. But there's so much more happening here besides a potential 3-1 series edge or 2-2 series tie. To fully appreciate the magnitude of what happens next for both teams' fan bases, we have to do our due diligence. We have to research as much as possible. In layman's terms, we need to rewind. Down by 2 and the clock ticking. The Lakers are in a precarious spot. They can either go for the win with a 3 or try to make a contested mid-range jumper and play for overtime. The Lakers used to own the Kings in the postseason. Shaquille O'Neal even compared the team to their female counterpart in the monarchy system.
We're not worried about the Sacramento Queens.
The Kings are now playing the Lakers for the third straight time in the postseason. After nearly pulling off an 8-seed versus 1 upset in 2000, Sacramento is trying to avenge last season's playoff sweep at the hands of the two-time defending champions. Going into the 2002 postseason, the Kings were 0-5 in all 5 of their road games at the Staples Center. But things are different this time around, as the Kings won Game 3 in LA just 2 days ago. And with summer less than a month away, the Kings are seconds away from taking a very important 3-1 edge. But the team with the Western Conference's best record shouldn't be in this spot. Let me explain. Sacramento led by 20 points at the end of the first quarter, and they increased its cushion to as many as 24 after a dunk by Hedo Turkoglu gave his team a 48-24 lead early in the second quarter. The Lakers then made it respectable by becoming lethal from downtown. 6 of their last 8 points were via the three-pointer, including a buzzer beater by Samaki Walker at the end of the first half. Still, the Lakers are nowhere near their usual dominance against the Kings. A 14-point halftime deficit is certainly better than 24, but with Mike Bibby scoring 15 of his 18 team-leading points away from the three-point line, the Lakers are basically getting destroyed off the dribble. Every single Lakers starter has a plus-minus worse than a minus.
Welcome to the action at beautiful Stewart Field. I'm Kyle Smith alongside Bob Vilsaway for another production of Sports Broadcast Solutions. Tonight it's Berber City against Chicago House AC. Chicago House cannot get to the top 2. They can fall below 4th place with a loss tonight. But the good news is, Bob, Chicago House has only lost once. We covered that game. That was the home opener against Steel City. They haven't lost since then. The reason they're not the top 2 teams in the conference, though, 5 draws.
That's exactly it. Steel City is 6th place. They were 4 wins, 3 draws, and 3 ties. But Berber City, they played 10 times. They've got just 2 wins. They've just 2 ties and 6 losses. So Berber City is in 10th place out of the 12 teams here. Chicago House is in 4th place, as you said. First place, Adria, 7 wins, 3 draws, no losses, so you can say they are undefeated. Iowa Raptors in 2nd place, 6 wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss. Bavarians SC, 6 wins, 3 draws, 1 loss, identical with Iowa Raptors. So they've got 21 points each. Chicago House in 4th place, 4 wins, so that's 12 points, plus the 5 draws at 17 with the 1 loss. So even if they get all 3 points tonight, the best they can do is remain in 4th place.
We actually saw Chicago House earlier in the year. They had Iowa Raptors on the ropes. They were up 3-1. Then the last 5 minutes, the Raptors scored twice. That's really the position that Chicago House is in right now. Obviously, the other games they probably should have won became draws instead. But that really hurt, Bob. They would have won that game. They were up 3-1 late. Raptors scored 2 unanswered goals to get the tie, and it was a 3-point swing. They would have had 3 points. Instead, they have 1 out of that match. So instead of 19, they have 17 points, and now they have a big game tonight. They want to finish the season on a high note.
Well, that's exactly it. If Iowa Raptors had 2 fewer points, they'd have 19 instead of 21. Chicago House would have a 5th win and 4 ties. That's 19 points, so that would effectively reverse the standings. They would have been fighting for, well, they would have been behind RWB Adria instead, and they would have been fighting with Bavarians SC for that second place spot to be in the championship. Only the top 2 teams make this championship. It reminds you of baseball in the old days where only the pennant winner gets to the playoffs.
Bavarians SC has had a good season as well with 21 points, 6 wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss. Chicago House, they've had their chances, but when you have 5 draws, very hard to get to the top 2 teams in the conference. Berber City will give you the picks to click. Those are brought to you by Sports Broadcast Solutions. For Berber City, their leading goal scorer, Murthada Camille, with 6 goals on the season, and Chicago House's Musa Morris also with 6. Leading the way, Steel City FC's Shea Bechtel with 9, and also Jake Lysick with 7. And Bob, it just shows you soccer is such a defensive-minded game. Steel City, they've got 2 goal scorers in the top 5, but here they are in the standings, just in a lowly 6th place.
Well, 6 out of 12 teams. I'm actually one of those guys. I see the positive in 5 ties. You're 1 goal away, or maybe a hustle point or something, from getting 2 more points in the standings. Unfortunately, you'd rather have a win and a loss at 3 points than a tie and 2 ties when you only get 2 points. You really got to find a way to get that extra goal somewhere along the way.
So
2 more goals in the whole season at the right place would have given them 4 more points.
So because Bavarians has 21, the best that Chicago House can finish is 4th place in the conference. If they lose and DeKalb wins, then DeKalb would move above them. And, of course, you've got Steel City FC at 15, who would love nothing better than Chicago House to lose as well as DeKalb. And then Steel City sneaks in for 4th place to finish the year on a high note. Should be a win for Chicago House AC, but I've said that before, and I have been wrong before. But tonight I like Chicago House to get the victory.
Well, it's going to also be interesting if you're Chicago House. Okay, tonight's game doesn't matter. It does if you want to finish 4th, right? But I think if I'm them, I would play some of the bench players who haven't been getting a lot of field time this whole entire year, see what they can do, give them a little bit of a carrot in front of their nose for next year. The starters have already played a lot of the games this year. So I think I would be playing a little bit more bench tonight and see what they can do, which might decrease their odds of winning, but at the same time, then you know what you've got coming into next year.
Starting lineups brought to you by Sports Broadcast Solutions. For Chicago House AC, Vukasin Bolatovic, number 15. Number 7, Adam Mann, who we had in the pregame show. Number 8, Shannon Seymour. Number 11, Georgi Spazov. Number 13, Oscar Dunkel. Number 17, Jed McLeod. Number 94, Damon Almazan. Number 18, Tony Halterman. Number 12, Shakan Reed. And number 22, Jahan Alzate. And that's the starting lineup for Chicago House. We will give you Berber City starting lineup after the break. Final thoughts, Bob, before we go to break and introduce this Berber City team?
I'm just honored to be here. I like watching these games. It's high-level soccer. The teams play well. There's always hustle no matter what the score is. It's an exciting league to watch. I wish more people were out here taking the same. It's great weather. The sun is going down. Chicago's in the background. The White Sox are at home. You can see the lights from 35th Avenue, 35th Street over there. So it'll be a fun night of soccer to watch tonight.
You had a little Cubs Sox mixture there. You combined Waveland Avenue with 35th Street.
Did I say Waveland?
You said 35th Avenue, so you combined Cubs Sox into one sentence.
There you go. Yep.
Waveland Avenue and Shields.
So what we need is a goal scored on the soccer field. At the same time, somebody hits a home run, then we can get some fireworks from Sox Park.
Well, we saw a lot of home runs, but unfortunately that was from the Athletics last night.
Yeah, so no fireworks on those.
All right, we're going to take a break. Berber City's lineup coming up next here on SBS.
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. For those of you that just want raw footage of your sporting event, but no play-by-play or color commentary, you just need us to live stream video from the event over the internet. We will live stream your event on YouTube on our Sports Broadcast Solutions channel. In addition, we also have a dedicated channel on YouTube for live streaming at SBS Livestream. And if you need multiple channels, we can utilize Facebook Livestream and Instagram Live on our channel as well. Options include commercials from your sponsors, professional scoreboard graphics are still available, and of course, yes, pre- and post-game interviews are available as an option if you want.
We've been working really hard this whole summer and stuff.
Whatever your sports broadcast needs, we are at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital sporting world.
Peter Will for a briefing statement.
Thank you very much, and thank all of you for coming out here tonight. A gorgeous night. It's the largest Chicago House home crowd of the season, and we've been blessed with great weather all season long. We really appreciate your support. We want to thank our coaching staff led by Matt Nolan and Garrett Sally, our administration led by Brian, players, the volunteers have all stepped up for an incredible season. We're very proud of the accomplishments of the team this year. And now we'd like to welcome our sponsors for tonight and our team captain. We're going to walk out to midfield. Please welcome from Weiss Hospital, Chicago House team physician Sheldon Coe, Dr. Sheldon Coe, and Chicago House captain A.R. Smith. Hospital has been a tremendous partner for Chicago House since our inception. We've taken great care of our athletes. We're very proud to work with them. And now Dr. Coe, please make the ceremonial first pick. White Hospital, and thank you, Captain A.R. Smith.
Please welcome to the pitch the match officials and tonight's starter. Okay, the starting lineup for our visiting Berber FC. Number 12, Rafael Santos. Number 11, Mercado Camille. Number 19, Leonardo Figueroa. Number 6, Amir Yuliabi. Number 10, Monir Alani.
330
Number 7,
957
Frank Sanchez.
7653.
Number 35, Prince Samuel Hawkins. Number 18, Jose Penaloza. Number 9, Amin Ariaki. Number 2, Ellis Garcia. Number 16, Jose Curcio. Berber FC head coach is Fuez Ariaki. And now for Chicago House FC, number 15, Vukasin Bulatovic. Number 7, the captain for tonight's match, Adam Mann. Number 8, Shannon Seymour. Number 11, Georgie Savas. Number 13, Oscar Dunkel. Number 17, Jen McLeod. Number 94, Damon Almazan. Number 25, Rodrigo Gugino. Number 18, Tony Helferman. Number 12, Stephon Reed. Number 22, John Elzate. Chicago House AC's head coach is Matt Poland.
It's about time for some soccer between Berber City and Chicago House AC. Berber City in the white and Chicago House in the black. And here we go. Chicago House AC looking to finish strong with a 4th place finish. They can't move up in the standings because of those draws, but they can move down with a defeat. As they'll take their time in their own territory. Little left-footed kick about 3 feet away from the goalie box. It'll be played on the right to the far sideline. Kick straight up, now a midfield ball. And it's going to be picked up by Berber City. They'll slide it back over to their defenseman and then slid back over to the sideline. Looking for two, and he gets it to him. Full in stride off the right foot. And it's a good-looking kick. Very close to the corner. Defended well by Chicago House AC. Off the body as Mann looks to clear. Mann will clear it out to the sideline. And a little tap-and-go play that time delivered by Godino, who was not originally in the starting lineup, but he's a late add. And we'll have an overhead pass with Adam Mann on the delivery. Nope, sorry, that's not Adam Mann. That'll be Jed McLeod, as McLeod will deliver to Godino. And we'll see who the official says last touch last. He says Berber City, and it'll be played by Jed McLeod. Looking for a call, nothing issued, and then played back to the defenseman of Chicago House. Left-footed kick. Okay, hang time, but he gets it right in stride to his teammate. Now to the forwards of Chicago House. On the corner trying to set it up. No one home. And he finally gets it out about 5 meters from the goalie box. Can't get the shot on net. Defended well by Berber, looking for a corner. And it's eventually kicked out accidentally by Chicago House. So far, Bob, it's a little bit back and forth. Chicago House had a decent attack there, but couldn't get it on net.
Well, that was set up by a really nice long pass to the right corner, and then Chicago House did a good job maintaining possession until they didn't, right? But that's the best attack we've had so far.
Playing for pride's sake, Chicago House out of the playoffs. It's the top 2 seeds make it to the championship game, and I don't know if it's single elimination or if they play best of 3, but Chicago House is eliminated from that. This is the last game of the season. Kick straight up, it's going to midfield. Chicago House goes after it. They have more men after the ball than Berber, but Berber keeps it in, out to 7, and now played by 19, and looking for a call. 19 not listed on the roster. This is a Chicago House team coached by Matt Poland, assisted by Eric Sally. Halterman with 2 shutouts on the season. They're looking to get the ball to Musa Morris. He's their leading goal scorer with 6. Most in the conference is 9. They play 11 games, so if you're a decent goal scorer, you average about a goal a game. Musa Morris just under a half a goal a game.
Yeah, 9 goals in 11 games, or 10 games, is a big number.
I mean, this is a league where it's not uncommon to see you score 6 goals. We saw Chicago House with a big game against DeKalb County. They won 6-0. And then they scored 3 against Iowa Raptors, but that was an unfortunate draw. If you have a chance, go on our YouTube channel, check out that game. It was one of the greatest goals I've ever seen, at least at the semi-pro level, as Iowa Raptors did not give up on the game, and it was a great goal for the equalizer. Meanwhile, Berber City has it in their own territory. Goalkeeper for Berber City thought about cheating up, then he gets back in the box. Meanwhile, played at midfield. Try to get it over to the other sideline, but Chicago saw it all the way. Now they get it to the sideline, a little headed pass. Read well by Chicago House, and the ball finds itself to midfield. Berber City had it for a brief second. They'll get it back on a free kick. And it's tapped over to the boundary. Chicago after it. They keep it in. Straight up kick, and last touch by Chicago House.
And into the parking lot. Both teams playing up tempo. Both teams, when they had a free kick, took it right away. They didn't wait.
Now with it is Berber City. It's a fun night for soccer here in Chicago. 4 blocks away, guaranteed rate field. Home of the White Sox. They're playing the Athletics. It was pretty big traffic on I-55, so even though the Sox have been struggling, a lot of fans coming to see their team play tonight. We'll give you updates as the game goes on. Meanwhile, Chicago has it in their own territory. Has taken their time with it. No rush, of course. It's no score here in Chicago.
Well, and here's kind of a concept talking about fans. Both of these teams, this is their home court or home field, right? So there's a lot more fans here tonight than we've seen in the past because both teams, this is their home field. With a very loud, elevated train going by us.
Good lead pass, trying to split through the D. And it briefly got through there and then eventually kicked out by Berber City.
I guess that elevated train was flat out the Metro. Some really nifty passing there to maintain possession now at midfield.
Dunkel will play it. And he finds his teammate that time in Bulatovic. Still at midfield, played by Bulatovic. Left-footed kick as he finds Dunkel. As Dunkel will tap it out to midfield. Soccer always a game of midfield play, and right now winning that battle is Chicago House, as they were the favored team in this matchup. Here comes Chicago on the attack. They've got numbers. Little tap pass over to the sideline. Then kick back out. Left-footed kick blocked by Berber. And then played by Chicago House. Berber after it now. Double team trying to steal it. And it was partially deflected. Berber on the attack still. In stride, looking to do a corner kick pass. Instead, Chicago House to defend. And they counter by getting that ball out of bounds. Corner kick coming up for Berber City.
Yeah, that's an interesting counter, right? Obviously, they don't intend for it to go out of bounds there because you give up these corner kicks. These set pieces is where most teams score their goals. So we'll see what happens on this first corner kick of the game. Berber City keeping 3 defenders back. Later in the game, if it's a 1-0 game either direction, you'll see them press with maybe just 1 defender back there.
You don't see a lot of teams do this strategy where they fake the corner. It was a faked corner, a little tap pass, and then they did a pseudo corner from 2 feet away from the corner.
Yeah, that's absolutely not my first choice. I always kick it in front of the goal and try for the header.
Yeah, sometimes teams like to do that, keep a team off guard. You don't expect that. It's basically the same as a corner kick when you do that. You just get a couple meters closer to the goal. Meanwhile, stolen by Berber. Alzate was on it. Sorry, Almazan. And then out to midfield. Chicago with the interception. Both teams play at IIT for their home games. Last touch by Chicago. But it looks like it's going to be their free kick. Might be one of those 1-0 games, although it's early on, so hard to say what we're going to get from both teams and their goalkeepers.
Yeah, I think you're going to see some effort issues a couple of times here when nobody could really make it into the playoffs, and then you have a team that's 2-6. I think you're going to see a higher scoring game today, but that's my projection.
Probably be more aggressive on offense. You don't have to worry about the loss. The loss doesn't hurt you. It's all about winning. The tie doesn't really help you either, so pretty much just go all out on offense tonight. You got nothing to lose.
So the referee's coming over to have a powwow on the near side.
Just a beautiful night for soccer. It's been a very nice summer. June was actually cooler than usual.
Yeah, we like this. You haven't had to bring umbrellas for your computer.
Yeah, no, it's been a very good summer. I've been very happy with it. Wish that more of these games would have been wins, but I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due. The Chicago House team, it takes you a lot to beat them. They've just struggled a little bit on defense and offense at times to finish up the games and get those victories. They start strong. They just got to find a way next season to finish strong.
They really just needed to hold on to that 3-1 win, and everything would be a lot different. So it was just one blemish out of those 10 games.
Yeah, I mean that one hurt. That was here. Iowa was definitely tired. They were a little shorthanded, and they put in the subs. That's not the reason they lost the game. Bicycle kick. easy save. Those kicks are just so hard, Bob. You have to have so much athleticism in the air to kick that with a lot of velocity to get it past the goalkeeper.
That's exactly what it is. But he did make a good kick, unfortunately right at the goalie. But had that kick been, 10 feet to the left, that could easily have been a score. So you have to mark that one down as a quality shot, but it just went right to the goalie.
Now on the attack. Good pass. The one-timer just a little bit high and wide. A little bit lapse of defense that time by Chicago House.
And the coach is not happy about that, as you can hear him all the way up here screaming at his team on that one-timer.
I mean, that would have been basically a SportsCenter top 10 goal in midair like that.
Well,
to go top shelf. I mean, still lapse of defense, but
yeah, he had to keep the ball a little bit more less in front of him and keep that toe pointed down, and that easily could have been a goal, just over the top by a couple, 2 or 3 feet.
Those one-timers in the air to kick it into the goal, those are tough. And that's not a soft ball either. So when you're kicking that ball in the air at your knee height, plus these passes, there's a lot of velocity on them as well. So it's not like they tap it to you all the time. Especially those saucer passes.
Well,
nice moves.
I think judging by the way the coaches reacted, they know that they escaped on a very nice offensive play.
This is a pitch that Berber City knows well. This is their home pitch as well. Left-footed kick in stride. I mean, that's the key in soccer. Getting those kicks right in stride, having the teammate run right onto it, it just helps you so much in this game. That's definitely a foul. Ill-advised foul too, partner, because he had help on the play.
Well, this is not where you want to cause a foul either. This is prime territory for a set-piece shot at the net.
Would you kick it straight through, or do you want to do a couple more passes? Well, the wall's being set up anyways. Yeah, it's kind of in that tweener spot.
I'm going to predict that they see a long shot from here, and they're going to hope to hit one of the high corners. That's what I'm betting they'll do, but they're setting it up as if it'll be a deflection off to the right.
About, 30 meters out? I mean, this is a tough goal. Not impossible, obviously. I mean, this is a prime spot. You're at that 90-degree great spot, that sweet spot that you want to be to try to attempt shots on net. Left-footed kick. They're going to try to head it in.
And nobody there.
I don't know about that one, partner. I'd like to see that ball higher in the air so it's easier to head.
Well, the coaching staff would probably also, because just kicking it out of bounds wide of the net didn't do any good.
Yeah, if you're going to kick it out of bounds, you might as well try to get it on net. Obviously, the wall's there, but if you're going to set up a header, get it nice and high. Help out your striker and your forwards.
Here's another free kick, even closer this time.
Yeah, I'm not liking what I'm seeing from Berber City on defense. Chicago's taking it to them. And that's why Berber City was so mad they didn't score, because they don't know how many opportunities they're going to have tonight.
Well, and that's the thing. Soccer is such a whoever scores first type of game.
Probably going to be a pseudo corner kick here. Unless you want to have a midfielder cheat up, but looks like everybody's right at the net. Yep, they're going to pass it instead and set something up. Man wasn't ready for it. Looked like a lack of communication that time between Man and Alzate. Meanwhile, Berber with it. And BC will play it on the sideline. They still have it. Great job keeping possession, and then played 10 meters away from the halfway line.
We've seen a couple of interesting plays off those free kicks, including the other corner, right? I feel like it's better to be a robot, put it right in front of the net and hope for that header or the deflection, anything. But in all these strange plays, not one shot has resulted.
By the way, the text line's open tonight. Your favorite high school, college, or MLS memory. Text 330-957-7653.
So ball possession is favoring Chicago House slightly.
Out to the corner, trying to set it up in front. Ball still loose, and Berber going after it. Looking for a call. Was it in the box?
No, I don't think he was in the box. It's going to be a free kick right outside it.
Whew, that was close, partner. But, yeah, I think the official got it right. Did not look like it was made in the box.
I was looking down at the camera. Did I see a yellow card there?
Well, went at the ankle, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was a yellow card.
So it's going to be a free kick right outside. So this will be a straight, direct shot on the net. Try to put it through between a couple of defenders. There's going to be a wall. So it's about 2 or 3 feet outside the goalie box.
I would personally kick it straight through.
If you can find a hole in the wall, but you can't go over the wall, it'll be too high. You can't really bend it around the wall, it's too close. The wall will be on one side, not the other. Typically the wall is on the right side for a bending kick. So if you have a left-footed kicker here, they can go to around the wall to the left, but then that would be right to the goalie. Well, we'll see what they do here. They've got 4 people to decide to run a play from. We'll see who steps over the ball and who kicks it.
Seymour's there, and he's going to take it. Play the game. Seymour. High. Got through.
Well, it's hard not to get through when you kick it over everyone's head. Did I say that? Probably what the coach will tell him later.
I mean, you want him to go low on that, but it's so hard to go low when the wall's in front of you.
Yeah, you got to look for a gap in that wall.
Ideally, what you want is to go low. Either you score or you get the rebound, but just easier said than done when the wall's in front of you.
But what a golden opportunity. This one's coming back. So we've seen 3 quality free kick opportunities for Chicago Nation and 1 corner kick for Berber City.
If you're just joining us, Chicago House has had more chances than Berber City. Chicago with a couple of free kicks, including one just outside the penalty area.
Oh, and this is why we had that free kick.
Got a blood on the pitch.
Oh.
Meanwhile, played by Berber City. Falling to the ground, and it's going to be a free kick for Chicago House.
Yeah, whenever the ball goes behind the goal, I always feel like it's a wasted offensive opportunity. You got to try to get a corner kick out of it somehow or a shot on net. In the meantime, down below here, we've got the Berber City player being attended to by the Chicago Nation doctor.
Chicago House.
Chicago House doctor. I did that twice now.
Might be a Chicago Nation doctor. Maybe they co-op with each other.
I got to get my team straight.
Chicago Nation unfortunately lost in the quarterfinals of the UPSL. They had quite a run. Last year they went to the championship game in the fall season. Here comes Chicago with it. And we're going to get another penalty against Berber. Berber doesn't like it. Amine Araki didn't like it, but Bob, I think that was the right call.
Oh, absolutely. But another free kick in that free kick zone that you don't want to give up a free kick in. Like you said, straight onto the net, maybe a little bit far out. An opportunity for a direct kick or possibly a header on the far post, which would be to our left.
So for young soccer players that are watching this game, how can they play defense to avoid the free kick?
Well, I mean, you have to hit the ball first. It's pretty simple, right? You have to hit the ball first, not the player. And if you don't think you can get to the ball first, don't make that lunge or don't stick your leg out, especially in this area on the field. I mean, if it's a free kick at the other end, well, there's not too much damage in that. But when you start doing that kind of move in front of your own goal, you're hurting your team.
Definitely hurts. The good thing about soccer is you get the wall anytime there's a free kick, so it's still tough to score. In fact, it's hard to get shots on net. They're going to try it again. Left-footed kick. Will it stay in? It will. Header chance. Did he get a piece of it? Maybe. Even if he had, it would have been an easy save for the goalie.
Well, he got a piece of it. The question is, where would it have gone against the net? But at least they got a shot out of it. This is coming right our way. Fielded by the head coach.
On a play like that, would you rather him start and stop to try to find somebody, or is it okay for him to kick it out, as that's a pass in stride to Chicago.
Are you talking about on that a goal kick earlier?
Yeah, because he definitely knew he was out of bounds when he kicked it.
I'm not sure which play you're referring to. On the header that went wide, I mean, that was actually a well-played set.
No, the play by Berber, he kicked it out even though he knew it was going to go out.
Oh. Yeah.
He could have stopped and started, stopped the ball and tried to pass it back deeper into his own territory.
Yeah, giving up possession on the sideline, I don't know that soccer coaches get too bent out of shape over that.
Well, it led to possession for Chicago House. They had some opportunities.
Well, every possession in these games is like gold.
But, yeah, kicking it deep into your own territory isn't always the best decision either. So, you're kind of in a no-win situation there. Meanwhile, on the sideline.
Got a sub coming in.
And they're going to bring their blood sub back in.
The bloody nose is getting back in. Thanks to the PA announcer for straightening me out there.
Berber has struggled this year. 2 wins, 6 losses, 2 ties. If they're going to win, they're going to try to get the ball to Mathurda Camille. That's number 11. He's tied with Musa Morris with 6 goals on the year. Tied for 6th as there are 3 goal scorers with 7.
So that's the ticket to get quality goal opportunities. You bloody the other team's nose while he's getting patched up on the sideline. You get 3 free kicks in front of the net.
I guess the analogy would make is that's in stride, but Chicago House is there. On defense, shot goes wide. Didn't really have much of an opportunity there. There were 2 defenders near him, and he had to get the shot off quick. I was just going to bring up with the blood, it reminds you of the Gordie Howe hat trick. Score a goal, get an assist, and then you get into a fight. Blood, obviously, sometimes from the fight. No fighting, obviously, allowed in soccer.
Well, now all Berber City needs is some sweat and tears, and then they got it. So no doubt they're going to sweat in this warm weather, and then tears, well, only if they don't win, right?
The throw-in by Chicago, defended well by Berber City. No look pass to himself, but once again, Chicago is there to counter, to keep that ball in their territory. Still in the zone of Berber City, and they eventually get it out. Now a midfield play, Chicago on it. Slide tackle to steal it, and now with the ball is Berber City. Chicago had it briefly, tapped over to midfield.
Just an observation. There's been a lot of slide tackles today. I'm not going to say an inordinate number, but a lot of them. Whereas the other night when we were here, there just weren't any. I don't know if the ball just bounced differently that night, less hustle, what it is, but there's a lot of slide tackling going on. Here's another player down on the ground, but I think this is a hamstring, not the result of a slide tackle. This is why you warm up.
Yep. Hamstring issues and cramping, always a problem at this level. We'll take a 30-second break. More soccer action coming up next here on SBS.
Missing your child's sporting event just plain stinks. But you don't have to worry about that anymore, thanks to Sports Broadcast Solutions. SBS is a live broadcasting network, as well as covering your on-demand needs, recruiting videos, highlight reels, and much, much more. We can broadcast live to any website, and we also post as much on-demand content as you need. For more information about SBS, check out our website at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone.
Shaquan Reed is the injured player for Chicago House. You hate to see it, Bob. Happens, though, when it's 90 degrees out. Even when you stretch, hamstrings and cramps, they can happen in this hot weather.
Well, and there's a big difference between the two. Hamstring, you're out a while. Cramps, get some water and come back the next day. It is number 12.
We'll give you an update when our sideline reporter lets us know what's going on with Shaquan Reed. No score. Chicago has had more opportunities in Berber City. The best opportunity of the game, though, came from Berber City, a 2-on-1. They had a chance for a one-timer, and it went wide. If there's one thing that Berber City is doing really well is the walls. They have seen something in the scouting report that has made it difficult for Chicago House to get it through the wall. Obviously, a wall, it's tough to get through in the first place, but they made it problematic for Chicago tonight on the free kicks. It's shot out of bounds.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the way he hit that out of bounds. He just kicked it behind the goal. We should have got a corner kick out of it. I think he could have made a little bit more of a turn and hit it to the sideline.
Yeah, try to arch your body towards the sideline when you kick it so it goes towards the sideline, not the end line.
Yeah, maybe I'm too far away from it, and it was a little bit more of an emergency than we thought. But
you saw it right. You want to try to rotate your body so when you kick it, it kicks out of bounds to the sideline.
Yeah, but he's a pro soccer player. I'm up here recording.
Well, you're a good armchair soccer player.
Right.
But no, you're right. You don't want to do that. Corners are never good. You know, it's not middle school soccer anymore. It's professional. So giving up a corner, trying to think of the best analogy to another sport, but giving up the corner is not good in the game of soccer. Maybe a leadoff walk. I don't know if that's the best analogy, but you know, in baseball, you want him to hit on 3 and 2, not walk him for the leadoff walk. Better to kick it out of bounds than give up the corner kick. In front. Look at that save. Great job reading it. 2 hands on it. Came out and caught that ball.
Yeah, Berber City didn't put a mark on the goalie, so he was able to get to it real easily.
He went out and got that, Bob. He didn't let it come into him. You know, sometimes when you let it hit off your chest, it bounces off, and you don't catch it. He put both hands out to catch that ball.
That was an inadvertent handball that wasn't called. Advantage to Berber City.
Berber City with it. Centering pass. Still in front. Still with it.
And we got another corner coming, it looks like.
And he tripped on his own accord. That should not be a penalty, and it's not.
No, they're going to say it was touched and a goal kick.
Yep, that's the right call. That would have been a killer if it was a penalty. I mean, that would have been the game, but it clearly wasn't. But good job by Berber. A lot of good things can happen when you get it deep like that. Obviously, you want to try to get some shots on net eventually, but good job on the attack. Keeping the pressure on Chicago House. Out at midfield. Now to the boundary. Double team comes. On the defense is McLeod. Now played by number 10 at Alami, and out to midfield. House is quite the stingy defense this season. Less than a goal a game. They're .9 goals against average. Berber City struggling on defense, as has Steel City. Man, everybody's getting injured today. Substitution for Chicago House. Shaquan Reed takes a seat. Jack Kramer into the game. Injury substitution.
Oh, good shot.
Player of the game thus far has probably been that goalkeeper for Chicago House. He's been phenomenal.
That was a relatively point-blank shot that went right to the goalie. Of course, he's up for the task.
That's a shot on net. And great job by the goalkeeper.
And that ball is going to go in the next field.
I love how in both sports, hockey and soccer, You never call a goalie. Soccer, it's always the goalkeeper, or GK for short. And hockey, it's always the netminder. Even though they're technically called the goalie, you never call them the goalie. Here comes Chicago House out to the boundary, and now they're on the attack. Keeping the pressure on Berber. 15 feet out. Little tap pass, and well read by the goalkeeper for Berber City.
Well, what do you call that baseball player that's behind home plate when the pitcher throws it?
Stolen away by Burbs. Here comes Berb City. Out to the sideline. Left-footed kick. And blown dead by the official. As there's Matt Poland and Eric Sally on camera talking it over, or they're discussing what the White Sox score is. If it's anything like yesterday, they're probably losing. Out to the sideline, played well by Chicago House as they're winning the midfield battle. In fact, they're winning a lot of battles tonight. Kicked out of bounds.
Another yellow card comes out.
Nothing ever good happens when you talk back to the sir. You know, one of my favorite lines from Pride of the Yankees is, no matter what you do, nothing can ever change the decision of the umpire. It was said by Gary Cooper, obviously playing Lou Gehrig in the movie.
Well, if you do
and
it
that's
right,
true for soccer too.
Yeah, if you do it right, you're not trying to change the mind of the umpire or the referee on that play. You're trying to influence the next play that hasn't yet been called. That's what you're doing.
Just some refs don't like it because you're questioning their authority or you're questioning their ability to do their job.
Which is exactly what's needed in some cases.
Leads to yellow cards, or in baseball, leads to ejections. Left-footed kick. It was a pass all the way. Header and a save. Technically a shot, but that was more of a pass on the header. But we'll log it as a shot in the book.
Yeah, he was trying to pass it into the net off his head. It's a real nice shot on net. It was the far post. The goalie was guarding the near post. He needed a little more pace on it to get past the goalie quicker. It's a good shot.
Everything in soccer is difficult. That's why it's called the beautiful game. When you score, it's a beautiful goal. Very rarely do you get those so-called garbage goals that you get in hockey. When you score in soccer, you remember it for the rest of your life because it's so hard to score in this game.
Now, there was the effort necessary to keep the ball on the sideline as opposed to a corner kick. That's some good hustle from Berber City.
Out on the boundary, it's played by Dunkel. A lot of solid minutes from him tonight. Halterman starts. He's got 2 shutouts on the season. He's been fantastic between the pipes tonight. The main reason it's 0-0, both goalkeepers have been good. Halterman's been better.
Well, my old soccer coach would say that both goaltenders are equal.
You say goaltenders?
Goaltenders, netminders, whatever you want to call them today.
Come on, it's the GK, man, never GT. Shot. And it's deflected out. We'll have a corner coming up for Chicago House. Good-looking shot.
That was headed for the top right of the goal.
Would have liked to go right or left. It was right at the goalkeeper, but still, a lot of topspin on it, and hard to get a piece of it if you're the goalkeeper. Dennis Turdine is between the pipes for Berber City tonight. He has 1 clean sheet on the season. No score here in Chicago, right off 31st Street on the beautiful campus of Illinois Institute of Technology. Left-footed corner set up in front.
Looked like it went through unscathed.
Kick coming up.
Yeah, nobody touched it. Now we get the loud Metra again passing us behind us.
We're right by the loop, by the way, so if you ever hear a train behind us, that's the loop. Right off the red line on 31st Street. Same result as yesterday. It's 2-0 A's in the bottom of the fifth. It is now in the top of the sixth. So the people that went to the White Sox game should have come here. Chance to see the home team win. White Sox game, they've been losing.
So the White Sox have the same number of points as Chicago House?
Yep. Same amount of goals and runs. The big goose egg. Not looking good for my White Sox. The A's are in last place. Meanwhile, Alzate sends it back. It's starting to get a little bit darker here in Chicago. Since we're in the summer, it doesn't get pitch black until around 8:20.
Another slide
Look
tackle
at that,
right
gets
over it.
past the D on the attack on his right foot. Rebound try. Chicago House goal! First goal of the game goes the way of Chicago House. Rebound try and a goal for Alzate. Put one on the Jumbotron. It's 1-0 Chicago House. Partner, when you keep attacking and you continue the pressure, eventually it leads to success.
Well, and that's the downside of a slide tackle. If you don't get the ball, and in this case he jumped over him, then another defender had to get it, fell in the box, making everybody think there might have been a penalty. The goalie said no dice on that. The rebound went right back to Chicago House, did the little deke and shot to the right. Easy goal. No goalie was in the way that time.
A lot of numbers from Chicago House. It became an odd man rush once the slide tackle was not made. And that might be the difference maker in this game. And now Chicago has more goals than the White Sox have scored runs. How about it?
And that's the downside of a slide tackle, though.
Yeah, especially when he was already on the corner. You'd forced him into a tough angle. Just stay on your feet and try to force him to pass it out in front. As you look at it on replay, it was a great setup by Almazan. As Chicago House looking to make it 2-0. They had a lot of shots on net, and finally it came to bite Berber City in the butt. But that's why midfield play is so important. It was set up well to Spazov. Spazov got to the front, looked for a penalty kick, shot, rebound, trying a goal. It's not sometimes the first shot, but the second one or the third one that becomes a goal. And the way Halterman's playing tonight, that might be all he needs. Jahan Alzate with the difference maker goal. That was kind of an old-fashioned hockey goal, right?
Yeah, I'm going to put my money on. There's more. The goal scoring isn't done yet.
One shot, a save, a rebound, try, and a goal. Well, partner, the championship game it's not in play tonight. So if you're Chicago House, do you try to score as many goals as possible, or do you stay more conservative and finish the year with a win?
Well, I think if I were Chicago House, I'd be tempted to play some bench players that I haven't been playing. So that could either give up a goal somewhere along the way and get yet another draw, or extend the lead. Could go either way. But I think I would like to see different players on the field to see what they can do for next year.
If you just began watching the broadcast, Story, the game is great lead pass. Another try for Chicago House. Fakes the shot and a goal. It's 2-0 Chicago. What a goal that was.
And I'll say the same thing. At the 38th minute, we said the scoring wasn't done. I think the scoring's not done in the 39th minute either.
As it's credited to Georgi Spazov, Seymour on the assist. if we go with hockey assists, Seymour has a goal and assist on the night. And right now, Chicago House taking it to Berber City. Oh, how some plays come to bite you in the end. Berber City had a one-timer that went wide, partner, and since then it's been all Chicago.
Well, that's first goal changes games in soccer. Had that first goal gone in, maybe Berber City would have sat back on defense and not allowed these 2 goals to score, and then they'd still be in the lead.
Berber would love to score before halftime. Now up by 2. If Chicago wants, they can be a little conservative to maintain the 2-goal cushion. This is a Chicago House team. Once they get momentum on their side, they can score goals in a hurry. They scored 6 against DeKalb County. They scored 5 against Edgewater, and they scored 3 in that tough tie to Iowa Raptors.
Yeah, that DeKalb County game, they weren't happy that the Chicago House was pouring it on either.
Well, Bill Belichick said it best. If you don't like it, find a way to stop it. I still remember that game. I think they beat the Titans 59-0. And Brady played to like the end of the 4th quarter. And there were some Titans fans not happy about that, as looking for a call, nothing being issued.
All right, so the referee initially thought there was going to be an advantage to not call that for Berber against Chicago House and call it for Berber City, but then he lost the ball right away, and then he blew the whistle for the tackle.
Usually in this league, what I've seen from the referees, they don't allow too many advantages unless it's clear. They call it right away, so that's why I was thinking they weren't going to call it. But
I'm with you on that, but it's got to be a clear advantage. Otherwise, people tackle too often.
Yeah, usually it's called right away, so you very rarely get those really quick, clear, and clean advantages.
Right, and that's why sometimes fans especially are like, why didn't you call that? Aren't you watching? Well, the referee is watching, but he's looking for that advantage.
Oh, boy. That was inadvertent, but Chicago wants a yellow card, but I don't think that was intentional. They're just going to call a foul. This looks like he got tangled up in the footing of the Chicago House forward. Adam Mann talking to the sir. Asking what the A's score is. It's 2-0, Adam. I feel bad for the fans that went yesterday. They were giving away tickets on ESPN 1000. And they were free tickets, and that was not a good game last night. Not so much better today.
I don't know. I like watching these soccer games. There's action from the very beginning through the very end. Some yellow cards, penalties, side tackles, as opposed to waiting for pitches.
Out to the sideline. Good move to himself. Creates separation and delivered up past the timeline. Looking for it and getting it. Now out to Almazan as Almazan plays it to the sideline. Right in stride. And deflected at the last second by Berber City. Getting closer and closer to the 45th minute. It's been a fun one at IIT, especially if you're a Chicago House fan. We appreciate you watching. The text line is still open at 330-957-7653. Your favorite high school, college, or MLS memory. World Cup is allowed too. Meanwhile, Chicago on the attack again. Left-footed kick. It's a two-hopper right into the breadbasket of the goalkeeper. And he'll pick it up and punt it away. Oh, he's going to do a little drop kick. You don't see that often, partner. Usually they punt. We'll see goalies a lot kick it right off the turf.
Yeah, and I can't decide if I like the Chicago House shot on net or not. It was right to the goalie. He had some muscle on it. But it's effectively a turnover, kicking it right to the goalie.
Yeah, you want to go left or right. The only time it really works, I think, is in hockey. You got that nice slap shot that goes low on the goalie. You try to go 5-hole on him, and he gets a stick on it, then it becomes a rebound. You don't really get that in soccer. So when you go right at the goalie, right in the middle of the goal, it's hard to get rebound tries off it. When they have to dive for it on the left or right, you're helping out your forwards to get a rebound try for a goal. We're in extra time, about 15 seconds past it. 2 minutes of extra time, so we'll stop at around 47 on our clock. At SBS, we also do the 3 stars of the match, and we'll let you know in the second half who our 3 stars are. So far, it's been all Chicago, as they played well on their home pitch, but the only loss was at IIT. Stolen away, ill-advised pass, partner. You don't want to pass it like that, a blind pass right in the middle of the pitch like that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And Chicago's going to take their time. And that was the quickest 2 minutes I've ever heard of. That does it for the first half. It's 2-0 Chicago. Me and my partner will regroup, and we'll give you some halftime analysis here on SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone.
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. Let SBS broadcast your sporting event. We have experience and can generate excitement and permanent digital memories for your team.
Tonight. That time, finally a goal for the Stampede!
We have professional videographers using high-definition modern-day cameras, color analysts, and play-by-play announcers with state-of-the-art, classy graphical scoreboards to keep you updated. Plus, we have commercials to advertise your team, club, or sponsor, and us. Plus, we do pregame and postgame interviews.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the postgame show brought to you by Marion Central Catholic. My name's Kyle Smith, but my name doesn't matter. These young ladies matter. It's senior night as the Hurricanes win a battle down the stretch, 48-46.
Hi, I'm Carrie Kramer. I swim 50 breast, 50 free, and 100 back.
Whatever your sports broadcast needs, we are at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital sporting world. Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. Instead of spending hundreds or thousands with all these college recruiting sites, let us put together your college highlight reel. For just a fraction of your potential college scholarship and significantly less than these recruiting services, we got this. In addition, we put together highlight reels for teams, including high school, your club team, or travel team.
My teammate gave me a great pass, and I just took it. The other team slashed me, took the opportunity, saw where the goalie was weak, and I just shot it there.
Solon, O'Connor, and Marsh back on defense. And Marsh gets a blowout. We got a breakaway at 2-0. A shot, and a goal! So, 3-3. The power play was officially over.
Whatever your sports broadcast needs, check us out at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital world. Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. Let SBS broadcast your sporting event. We have experience and can generate excitement and permanent digital memories for your team.
Tonight. That time, finally a goal for the Stampede!
We have professional videographers using high-definition modern-day cameras, color analysts, and play-by-play announcers with state-of-the-art, classy graphical scoreboards to keep you updated. Plus, we have commercials to advertise your team, club, or sponsor, and us. Plus, we do pregame and postgame interviews.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the postgame show brought to you by Marion Central Catholic. My name's Kyle Smith. Well, my name doesn't matter. These young ladies matter. It's senior night as the Hurricanes win a battle down the stretch, 48-46.
Hi, I'm Carrie Kramer. I swim 50 breast, 50 free, and 100 back.
Whatever your sports broadcast needs, we are at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital sporting world. Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. Instead of spending hundreds or thousands with all these college recruiting sites, let us put together your college highlight reel. For just a fraction of your potential college scholarship and significantly less than these recruiting services, we got this. In addition, we put together highlight reels for teams, including high school, your club team, or travel team.
My teammate gave me a great pass, and I just took it. The other team slashed me, took the opportunity, saw where the goalie was weak, and I just shot it there.
Solon, O'Connor, and Marsh back on defense. And Marsh gets a blowout. We got a breakaway, a 2-on-0. A shot, and a goal! So, 3-3. The power play was officially over.
Whatever your sports broadcast needs, check us out at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital world. This is Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone. Check us out at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com and become part of the digital sporting world.
Hey, this is Sarah Greenfalk, owner of PsychEdge. How would you like to learn how to manage your emotions and reactions in order to enhance your performance and be successful in life? I coach and counsel student athletes, performers, and professionals, giving them the mental skills and mindsets to build confidence and resilience. My background in physical therapy, massage therapy, personal training, and 15 years of counseling give my clients an advantage. So if you are wanting to be recruited, perform better, or struggling with life balance, anxiety, or depression symptoms, I will stand by you until we reach your goals. Contact me today, sarah@aimtogrow.com, and be sure to visit my website, psychedge.club, for your monthly blog on mental health, sport, and performance psychology tips.
Missing your child's sporting event just plain stinks. But you don't have to worry about that anymore, thanks to Sports Broadcast Solutions. SBS is a live broadcasting network, as well as covering your on-demand needs, recruiting videos, highlight reels, and much, much more. We can broadcast live to any website, and we also post as much on-demand content as you need. For more information about SBS, check out our website at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone.
Made from an athlete's mind for all sports minds. Level Up Branding is a unique sports marketing and branding agency, offering athlete management, brand management, and so much more. We are powered by experience, currently serving athletes in the WNBA, MLR, NFL, and college sports. We are looking to take on more clients because everyone deserves a shot at their dream. Our goal is to help others by inspiring one person at a time. Level Up Branding was founded by Lauren, who was and still is an athlete. She understands the importance of being a well-rounded and built individual. It takes an athlete to know an athlete. We are built different. There is so much more to an athlete than what is seen on the field or the court. We make it a priority to understand our athletes. We want to know and understand our clients' values, motives, passions, and future goals. At Level Up Branding, we believe in helping others succeed. We believe in giving back. We believe in family. You are more than an athlete. Level Up Branding was founded based on the sheer passion of sports, community involvement, and the sense of belonging to a community. We were created from an athlete's innovative mindset and experience, and here to offer our services to like-minded athletes.
Back to the action here at beautiful Stewart Field. I'm Kyle Smith alongside Bob Vilsaway. Second half about to begin. It's Chicago House 2, Berber City 0. And in respect to the kids that were playing, I got some dad jokes for you, Bob.
Oh, we're in trouble.
So it's Chicago against Berber City. And this is the home of Chicago. So one could say this is their house.
Well, I wonder if that's not why they had the name in the first place.
I'm 99% sure that's not why they're called Chicago House Athletic Club.
So where did they get the name Chicago House originally?
If they were sponsored by Under Armour, one could say they must protect this house. All right, enough of the dad jokes. If you want to hear more dad jokes, just text the text line at 330-957-7653. That was fun watching those kids play soccer, Bob. It reminds us of a more innocent era of soccer.
Yeah, and they were actually pretty good, too. And they use those little pint-sized nets, no goalie. It's a good way to learn how to play soccer. A little short field. You have to play keep away, no real boundaries.
It's been a fun game. Chicago, they've done a crash in that philosophy, and it has worked to fruition tonight for Chicago House Athletic Club. Crash the net. One shot, and then the striker comes in to finish off the play with a great rebound goal. And they've done that twice, and twice they've scored. And meanwhile, Berber City, they've got to score twice to force the tie.
Well, and the highest quality shot they had went over the crossbar. And so I'm thinking that maybe Berber City's not going to score any more goals today at all. And Chicago House has proven that even when they have the lead, they don't slow down. So we might see a 4-0, 5-0 game.
Play is started, so we'll start our clock. We apologize for the start of the game. Forgot to start that clock on time for you.
We might even see some tempers flaring because Chicago House has been known to get a few extra goals that maybe they didn't need to get.
Well, I'm going to continue to adhere to the Belichick philosophy. You can't just stop playing your game. You have one phase of how you play the game, and if they can't stop it, you can always put bench players in.
Well, and that's what we've seen Chicago House do. Well, two things. They put in bench players. They seem to be just as good, and they keep scoring. They don't give up. They keep trying. So you give Chicago House a lot of hustle credit points. We'll see if Berber City can maintain, and certainly they want to at least score a goal for pride's sake.
And, you know, it's always that darned if you do, darned if you don't situation. It's always, well, you're winning by 3 goals or you're winning by 3 touchdowns. Does your star player have to play? Well, the time they usually get hurt is usually not in those blowouts. I guess sometimes they do. It's always on those freak plays. I always think of Teddy Bridgewater, who tore his ACL on a non-contact play. So taking out your star player when it's a blowout, you know, to preserve them, make sure they don't get injured, that's really not why they do it. It's always, you know, you don't want to run up the score, or you want to try new players because the game's out of hand, you've got the victory. But for Chicago House, they like to change things up, put in subs when they need to, and they have one style, and it's full-on attack. And they're looking to score the 3rd goal of the game.
Oh, this is
Look
trouble.
at that pass and the separation. Pass in front, and could not get it through the defense, but it was a good setup. Excellent pass, and it almost led to another odd man rush for Chicago.
Well, they still get a corner kick out of it, so the danger isn't over for Berber City here.
Spazov has been excellent tonight, and if the game continues this way, our 3 stars would all be Chicago House players.
You mean the same player 3 times?
No, you got to give Halterman some credit. He's got the clean sheet. Spazov has been great as well. And then it would either be Elzate or Seymour as the 3rd star. Deflected up in the air. You want to try to get 2 hands on it, but was out of position and he could only get 1 hand on it. Really, you want to catch the ball. That's why you wear gloves. A lot easier to catch it when you're wearing gloves. Imagine how much tougher soccer would be if the goalie couldn't catch the ball. Line drive kick. Not an ideal corner setup. And it's going to be played out to the corner.
Oh, wow. A free kick there now.
Chicago wants a card and good sportsmanship. They were both going for the ball. Now, did he get the Chicago House player before the ball was hit? I mean, if their free kick is issued, that's the call, but did he get ball first before he got the player, or did he get most of the ball and a little bit of the leg/ankle? All right, Bob, how would you play this? As a corner, or do you want to do a centerpiece?
Oh, clearly a center feed. You're in a spot where you want to hit a low line drive right in front of the net, and hopefully it deflects off somebody into that net. And maybe as close to the net as you can, that could turn out to be an own goal, not even a deflection your team makes. It's a golden opportunity here.
Line drive pass off the goalie. That's a pass, not a shot. As the centerpiece that time was just a line drive pass. Back on D goes Chicago, and they'll kick it out.
Berber City had a great counter on that, came all the way upfield until it was finally kicked out of bounds at the last moment from Chicago House, which gave their defense time to set up.
Halterman is looking for his 3rd shutout of the year, and he has deserved it tonight. Meanwhile, ball on the sideline. Overhead pass. Decent throw in. Trying to clear it is Chicago as it's tapped over and stolen by Berber. What a pass to himself. Set up in front. Left-footed kick. Berber still on the attack. Full charge. Shot. It was blocked. Now, Bob, is Berber asking for a handball?
Absolutely, but there was no handball. In fact, I think it hit him square in the face, maybe a high neck. It didn't come close to an arm, I didn't think. But Berber is begging for a call, unfortunately not getting it.
What a play that was.
That was a point-blank shot. The defender got in the way. Had the defender not been there, it probably would have been over the fence and the goal net.
It didn't get the hand. If anything, it got the elbow as we look at it on replay.
Well, you'd have to slow that one down to see exactly what it hit. I thought it was all head.
It definitely was blocked by Chicago. And this is the play of the game. So we're going to watch this a couple of times. What a pass that was to himself.
At the 15-minute mark.
Got back into the play, shot. Yeah, if anything, it's off the elbow of the defender for Chicago.
Well, the 52-minute mark, I guess, is a few seconds ago.
It's a killer for Berber City, but I don't think that's a handball. The elbow's not part of the hand.
Well, judging by Berber City's reaction, it's possible it did hit the hand and nobody saw it, or they needed the goal so badly.
I looked at it twice. It either hit the elbow or nothing.
Well, the elbow counts as a handball.
Then it would have been a handball then.
So that's why they were fighting for that so badly.
So
Plus, would have been a goal on the penalty kick.
If that's indeed the call, then yes, that'd be a handball because it went off the elbow.
Yeah.
That's crucial, Bob. There would have been a penalty kick.
Right. So then it would have had the lead if that indeed is what happened.
Chicago would still have the lead, but it'd be 2-1 instead of 2-0.
Right. And a game that looks like it's impossible for Berber City to catch up to, suddenly it's very catch-upable.
I mean, you can't put yourself in these positions, though. They gave up too many free kicks, allowing Chicago to keep the pressure. And, soccer is such a cardio-heavy game. The more you're on defense, the harder it is to come back and win the game. When you have to continually put extra pressure on yourself to get the ball out, you keep running to the ball because you're deep in your own territory. That created problems for Berber City all night. They still have time to score twice, not give up any more goals, but look, I've looked at it a third time now. Looked like it was off the elbow, but even if they score, it still would be 2-1 Chicago. And I don't know if we've seen enough from Berber on offense to score twice tonight.
Well, and that's why that goal was so important. They've shown very little offensive prowess this whole game. And so they need that goal one way or other.
Hey, Gavin Sheets at a home run. There's our always entertaining coaching staff at Chicago House. One of the most interesting names in the Midwest Premier League. It's very unique. There's always like those teams that have unique names. The New York Yankees, the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, that's been my favorite lately. They're on TikTok all the time now.
Bob, I think you're on TikTok too much and not mowing your lawn enough.
Yeah, that's what my wife says, and both counts.
Out to... It was attempted pass that time to Godino, and a free kick coming up. Yellow card again, and you said it, partner. It's starting to get chippier on the pitch. And look, I get it. Berber's frustrated. No one likes to go 2-6-2 if they lose tonight 2-7-2. But going at the legs, going at the ankle isn't going to solve your problem.
Well, it just went up to a red card now.
Red card would be an ejection, obviously. As competitive as this league is, it's semi-pro. End of the day, you want to have fun as well as win soccer matches, and it becoming very chippy doesn't help anyone.
Well, the red card coming out, though, just about seals the deal for A, a shutout, and B, a win for Chicago House. I mean, you can't expect to go 9-on-10 for the next 40 minutes and win this game.
If you're just joining the broadcast, this is what's happened. Chicago House scored twice in the first half. We've looked at the replay twice. It was a shot from Berber City. It looked like it went off the elbow of a Chicago House defenseman. It was in the box, so it would have been a penalty kick. Even if Berber City had scored, Chicago would still have the lead. Now, the yellow card just recently has been changed to a red, so now it's 9-on-10 in favor of Chicago House. Sox have tied the game. It's 2-2.
Leave it to Jen, the PA announcer, to set us straight. So that was his second yellow card of the game, which is why it got changed to a red.
So that was the second yellow.
Right.
It had nothing to do with the actual penalty. It was just his second yellow of the match.
Right.
Well, either way, it's a red, but at least it looks better on your, what was it called? Better on your soccer card, your soccer trading card. I got a red card, but it was because I got 2 yellows, not because I'm a dirty player. Left-footed kick, that's not going to feel good.
Well, I think getting 2 yellows, a lot of players think that is dirty.
We talk about red cards. Bob, you probably forgot about this, but do you remember the World Cup back in 2010? That's a lead pass over to Berber. Left-footed kick in front, centering pass. Almost got through just at the last second, deflected out by Chicago, and it's played out in front. Tap to itself. Chicago trying to get it out. Berber City giving it that extra effort to keep the ball.
Yeah, I don't know if I would define this as chippy so far. I think I would define this as both teams are really trying to hustle in their last game of the year, and stuff happens.
Nobody wants to lose their last game of the year, but what I was referencing was the 2010 FIFA World Cup. The French player the captain Zidane, and he headbutted the other player for Italy. Red card, and
I saw that live.
Still don't understand why he did that. You work your whole life to get to the World Cup final, and early on in the match, you headbutt the opponent. Not exactly smart.
He just lost his head, and that wasn't meant to be a pun.
One could say he's become the butt of many jokes. Is this mic on? Hello? Yeah, I know. They're lame dad jokes. I try, though. Chicago with the ball. Ball loose, picked up by the goalkeeper.
That was danger, Will Robinson. That was closer to a goal than it looked.
He's almost had to stand on his head tonight, partner, to maintain this 2-goal deficit. He has not had much help from his teammates on defense.
Well, like I said before, I don't know that they're done scoring. That was the 39th minute, right? Now, we haven't scored in the second half yet. Berber City's down a player. Chicago House continues the hustle. Last game of the year, why wouldn't you? So my crystal ball says scoring's not over yet.
Berber City's had some chances.
Well, Berber City's scoring is over.
I think so, but they've definitely gone to that second gear tonight. They've upped their tempo, and they've upped the intensity.
They're giving it everything they've got, win, lose, or draw. They're leaving it on the field, which is good.
Now, is it a field or a pitch?
I think it's a field. No, I don't see any cricket wickets anywhere.
Well, maybe DraftKings one of these days will have a prop bet for announcers. Do they call it soccer field or soccer pitch?
If there's cricket wickets, it's a pitch. If there's no cricket wickets, it's a field. Jen, the PA announcer, tells me it's still a pitch, even though there's no cricket wickets.
It's been a fun one in Chicago.
I wish we were tied into the PA system. Jen, the PA announcer, has a wonderful voice outdoor here.
Yeah, Jen, the Gem PA announcer, she does a great job at the Chicago House home games. We just have the fun job, but she's the real MVP.
Well, and the referee did a good job with the 2 yellow cards there. That is going to prevent a lot of future chippiness in this game. So he's managing the game well, not over-managing it. Not calling too many yellow cards. Just the one player got 2 of them. We're in the 61st minute here.
Another kick straight up. Halterman looking to end the season with 3 clean sheets. It was a fun season for Chicago House, partner. It's not quite over yet. If they had just scored a couple more goals, they'd be playing for the championship. Or stop 2 more goals.
Well, at the right time. They had to stop a couple goals when they were ahead 3-1. And that's the difference in the season. So this is really a playoff-worthy team that just unfortunately isn't in the playoffs.
Yep, Bavarians and Iowa Raptors both have 21 points, so they'll be scoreboard watching. Most goals on the season was scored by Iowa, 35. Very good goal differential at plus 17. RWB Adria, the best in the league at plus 22. Chicago, very good goal differential at plus 15. Remember, they've only given up 9. Only team besides Adria to give up less than 10 on the year.
Well, and they had to get that goal differential with what, just 4 wins? So when they win, they win. Big. That's what I'm expecting to see here.
on the end line, and it was last played by Berber City. Starting to get a little chillier in the Windy City.
Card.
Another yellow card?
Yeah, I think that was a whiny player, not a illegal hit. I can't tell either.
Wow.
Can't tell. Yeah. So another yellow card to Berber City.
Dunkel will play it. And he sends it out to the sideline. It's headed out by Berber. Throw-in coming up for Shy House. It'll be Kramer coming off the bench tonight. Looking for a call. He just tripped on his own feet, and Berber will play in their own territory. Last game of the season, both teams just playing for pride's sake and for the fans to cheer on their team. Shot and a save. That's been happening a lot for Chicago. Good save again.
Oh, that was a gorgeous shot. What a save on that play to get just a piece of it to push it behind the goal net. They had some muscle to it, away from the goalie, top right, almost the corner. What a great shot. You just don't like to see those shots going wide. That had no eyes wide of the net. What a gorgeous kick that was. But a great save. So we got another corner kick out of this.
Turdine has been excellent. He just hasn't had enough offensively from his teammates. The no call on a handball was killer, but really the team that's outplayed the other team, Chicago House, has been the better team than Berber tonight. And with or without the handball, I still think Chicago would win this game, and right now they're winning.
Well, that might have changed a lot.
It would have, but I think that Chicago would have regrouped, been better defensively. I mean, the way that they, as a corner kick.
There it goes.
It's in the net. A great set piece, a header and a goal. And there's that man again. Georgi Spazov being in the middle of damage against the other team.
So there's your 3 stars right there.
Georgi Spazov, player of the match. A goal for number 11, and it's 3-0 Chicago.
He made a great run from one side of the goalie box to the other and just gently tipped it to the far post. The goalie had no chance. That's why you don't give up those corner kicks.
Well, that should just about do it for Berber. So even with the handball, wouldn't have made a difference, partner.
Well, and right now, Berber City's down a player. They've got no shot to score another. Well, not no shot, but no shot to score enough to get back in this game.
Another shot and a save. And right now, Shy House pouring it on.
And that's what they'll continue to do if their other games are played the same way. They do not let up.
And they're not happy about the yellow cards that Berber City has done on the pitch, and now they're taking it to them.
Well, when that second yellow card went against the same player, that really, really put the damper on Berber City's night.
And Shy House wasn't happy about it. I'm not saying it's revenge, but they're taking it out on Berber. They're making it hurt.
Well, they just constantly hustle no matter the score. You got to give them a lot of credit. To the players, to the coaching staff. That's how you train a team to win. You never give up. You always keep trying, keep your foot on the gas. And it translates to the next game, in this case now next season, because then you know what the capabilities of all your teammates are because they're always trying their hardest. When they're not trying their hardest, you never know if they're going to go for the ball or not.
And I apologize, the Zidane headbutt was 2006, not 2010. You just never really see that, partner, in any sport, getting ejected during a playoff game, much less a championship game. There's another
Oh, we're going to get a free
penalty
kick here.
Dunkel slow to get up.
There's an apology from the Berber City player. It was unintentional, but nonetheless, Chicago Nation getting up very slowly.
Look, they're up 3-0. The season's over. No need to rush back up and get back into the play. Make sure you're not injured. Take your time. I wouldn't say it's intentional. I know that Chicago House isn't happy about it, but
The referee coming over to talk to the Chicago House coaching staff.
I mean, you know when it's intentional. It's
Yeah,
pretty
but-
obvious in a soccer game.
Well, the Chicago House coaching staff is doing a little bit of whining on these yellow card calls. Handled well by the referee. Please knock it off. Continue on with the game.
Very rarely in sports, if you argue, you start getting calls that go your way. In fact, I don't think it ever happens.
One can say, I'm sure Berber City is frustrated. 2-2-6 year, they're getting beat pretty badly here. They're down a person. You know, what are you supposed to do?
It also doesn't help. This is their home pitch, and they're getting dominated on their home pitch. It's one thing to lose on the road, but this is technically their home pitch as well. Saturday night game, everybody's watching either in person or on YouTube. Another great save.
Yeah, but now we get another corner kick.
Well, I mean, that one was coming.
Yeah, chance for a fourth goal.
Very hard to catch a ball when you're diving to your right, or at least knock it down to keep it in, and then, you know, diving on it
Yeah,
for
the
the
kick
goal
was
kick.
deflected also. So, another corner kick.
Berber playing down a man because of the red card.
So keep all eyes on the most valuable player of the game here.
Yeah, Spazov has been fantastic tonight.
Setting up right in the middle.
He's definitely not been a spaz, in spite of his name.
It's right there. Oh, one of these corner kicks.
Ah, there we go. The corner kick from another angle. Terrible pass and stolen by Shy House. Almazan with the shot. It was blocked. All right, partner, you're Berber City. Do you just try to play good defense to not allow any more goals, or are you going all out to try to score here?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I think you try to maintain ball control. So even though you've got 9 players and they've got 10 out on the field, try to get ball control and work it up slowly. I don't think you're going to get a quick one-time send goal here. And if you did, you got to get 3 of those. I think the only way to catch up 3 goals, especially if you're down a person, is exceedingly good ball control.
I've interviewed their head coach in the past. We've covered Berber City in the past, and this is a very passionate head coach. Their last game of the season. I can interpret him as a guy that would rather lose 7-1 than get shut out 3-0. If it costs them giving up 4 goals, they'd rather lose 7-1 and get something past the goalkeeper than get shut out.
Chicago Nation and all their hustle is going to continue to try to maintain that shutout.
You mean Chicago House?
Did I say Chicago Nation again?
Yeah. That's 2 strikes, Bob. You need to choke up at the plate. 2 strikes on you. You're down on the count. Bob, what do you think is the hardest position to play in soccer?
That's a great question again. Midfield, because you have to go cover the entire length of the field. On defense, you have to become part of the offense. You know, goalie, one might say, but if you're on a really good team, you don't have to make that many saves. Of course, it's hard to be a striker because you need more precision on the ball to get it into that little tiny itsy-bitsy net with the big goalie out front. But no, I'd say midfielder because you got to do all that running.
I bring it up because it's been talked about a lot. Different sports shows, Sports Center, and some cramping going on, it looks like, for the Berber City end. And it's been talked about, of the 4 major sports, and then you include soccer and other sports as well, that the hardest position to play is quarterback in American football. And I don't know if I fully agree with that. I think goalie with hockey is tougher. I think being a pitcher is tougher. It's so much more stressful on your arm. I mean, you're so much more susceptible to injury. Unless quarterback, if you have a bad offensive line, you get hit a lot. And then for soccer, just so much cardio. Then swimming, the 500-meter, how much cardio that is in it. And the arms and the legs and diving. I don't know if it's easy to answer that question, the hardest position in sports.
Well, I think I have an answer for that. And for me, it's not a position, but the hardest thing to do. And that's to hit that baseball going at 100 miles an hour with some spin and curve to it and sink and everything else that baseballs do. That's the single most hardest thing to do in any sport, I believe.
It's very difficult. Close second place would be stopping that black puck between the pipes.
Or trying to beat Michael Jordan in a one-on-one.
Hey, Gary Payton could keep his own a little bit with MJ.
I'm not sure that even deserves a comment.
He was called the Glove. That was a good series when it was the Supersonics against the Bulls. I agree with you though. Midfield, definitely the toughest position in soccer.
Yeah, it's the running.
And like I said, I don't think that quarterback is by far the hardest position in all sports.
Certainly pays enough.
If you want to make a lot of money, just be an outfielder in baseball. You will make a hefty payday if your name is Mike Trout or Juan Soto. And that's all guaranteed, by the way. Quarterback money is not fully guaranteed. Last call for text messages tonight pertaining to your favorite high school, college, or MLS, or even World Cup memory to 330-957-7653. Good lead pass up front. One man back for Berber, and it's played by Berber as they get a piece of it and get possession of it.
Well, the one man back, you said it there. So Berber is trying to press for that goal.
I would too. I mean, it's 3-0, your last game of the year. I mean, this is a Chicago House team. We talked about it with Adam Mann in the pregame show. They love shutouts, and when they don't get one, it hurts. And Berber probably knows that too. And if they're not going to win, they would like Chicago to think about it a little bit and have them remember Berber a little bit going into next season. Tap pass. Good set piece. Stop and go move. Played out in front. Another chance. Shot and a save. Oh, man, what a save that time by Turdine. Not his fault. It's 3-0. Without him, it'd probably be 6-0. In fact, maybe they should cheat him up, see if he can score a goal. Do the entire one-man show tonight. 3-0 Chicago House. They scored twice in the first half, once here in the second half. It's been all Georgi Spazov, 2 goals and an assist.
Well, that shot was from Fazov again, too. It was a great play to stop the ball, straighten himself up, and still kick it low on the ground, unfortunately right at the goalie. But what a play that was. Well set up. And again, here we are, 76th minute, 3-0, and they're not letting up.
Berber's going to the bench. They're putting in fresh legs. Can't read this guy on the roster. 13's in. And Eziatur is in as well. He's number 20. And 19 will exit the game with an injury. That's Dasagoskos.
That looked like I booted into the next zip code.
Don't go anywhere. Post-game interviews brought to you by Sports Broadcast Solutions. Coming up after the match. Both players go after it. Ball loose, and it goes out of play. The goalkeeper and the forward went after it. And the goalie somewhat won that battle, but it was a late touch by the forward. If the goalie and Turdine hadn't gotten it, it would have been a 2-on-1.
Yeah, the goalie made a good read on that play.
I mean, he's got no choice. You never want to allow a 2-on-1. But if he doesn't get the ball, it's a 2-on-0 and an easy goal.
Hence the great read on the play.
Out of bounds, and Godino makes his plea that it was off the other team. Played on the boundary. It's played by 18. Little throw-in back to 18. Kept in well. The intensity is still there, even though the game is pretty much out of reach. Both teams giving the fans a show. Remember, this is very much a neutral site game because both teams played IIT for their home games. So we've got fans for both teams attending tonight.
Oh, this will be another yellow card if not red.
It's getting really out of hand now. And we were warned about it at halftime.
Well, there was an intentional push, and it looked like there was retaliation from the bench, but I didn't see it.
As we look at it on replay. By the way, you can replay all of our matches. Just hit that replay button on YouTube.
Yeah, I remember this minute, 79th minute, 78-13. That would be a good one to watch. I don't know if the referee saw the entire play there. But somebody called it when they said the game would be chippier in the second half.
Yeah, it was definitely a push from behind by 10. Definitely a yellow card.
Well, he had gotten kicked in the shin earlier and didn't like it. And then the player that kicked him in the shin, he gave a two-handed push out of bounds. And now somebody else is on the ground.
It was a push by 10.
Well, that's not what started this. It was the kick in the shin that started this. He saw no call.
I don't quite remember the kick in the shin.
Yeah. Then he decided to take justice into his own hands, put the Chicago House player on the ground, and I don't know who slugged this guy in the face.
Well, they're never going to catch the first offender. It's always the second. I wish that would change, but that's the history of sports when it comes to refereeing. And there are players that will do that on purpose to try to entice other players to hit them. You always get the second offender, never the first. It is still 2-2 between the A's and the White Sox.
Well, that's good news. Last update I remember, it was a 2-1 Sheets home run.
2-run homer, yep.
Oh, 2 runs. So it's 2-0, and then Sheets got the homer.
If it goes into extras, you have that stupid runner on second, nobody out thing.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that rule.
You know, Bob, I think that rule really favors the away team. Because if you score 2 or 3 runs, it's hard for the home team to really battle back and get back into the game, maintain their composure. I don't like that rule.
Well, I don't know that it does, but I wonder what the home versus away record is. I mean, if it really favors the away team, is their record higher?
I don't have the records in front of me, and we have an injury timeout. We're going to talk about this injury, what happened as well as that runner on second, nobody out thing. Meanwhile, you're watching Berber against Chicago House here on SBS. Oh, looks like play continued. I forgot that I was watching the YouTube broadcast, not the live stream broadcast. So we'll stick with the action here. Chicago against Berber. I don't have the stats in front of me about the away teams out of 1 versus the home teams, but obviously it depends on how good a team you are. But if you score twice in the top of the 10th or the top of the 11th or whatever, hard to a team to kind of maintain their composure, get back into it.
Well, every time I count players on the field, oh, there's an 8th one. I count 10 black players, Chicago House players, and 7. I don't see an 8th player yet. 3, 6, 7. Yeah, there's 8. So there's 8 players for.
So it was a red card.
Right.
10 on 8. And Bob, it gets to a point now that if you're the ref, is it dangerous to play the last 9 minutes?
Well, would they do that here?
Well, absolutely. I mean, this is semi-pro. These guys have day jobs. Nobody wants them to go to a day job with a broken ankle or, God forbid, a broken foot.
Torn ACL. It's very rarely done, but if it gets that bad, I remember we did that game up in Wisconsin. Now this was back during COVID. It was exhibition hockey, but remember it was like 6-2, and the ref called like 19 penalties.
I remember that game, but that was also young hockey players.
It was high school.
Yeah, would they call this game early?
That was also an exhibition game. This is for league play. We've seen 2 red cards already. I don't know how many yellows. At least 3.
All right, well, in any event, we see a 9th player now for Berber on the field. Or as Jen would say, the pitch.
I think 99% of soccer fans would say the pitch. But if you'd like to chat with us about pitch versus field, feel free to do so on the YouTube live chat.
Got a sub looking like he's going to come in.
It's been a fun game if you're a Chicago House fan, not so much if you like Berber. But, you know, it hasn't been all bad for Berber. Their goalkeeper has stolen the show almost with his great play. Chicago 3, Berber nothing here on SBS. Sent straight out.
There's got to be an unsung defender that I haven't paid enough attention to on Chicago House is helping maintain the shutout other than just the goalie.
And nobody cares about defense. It's all about goals. It's all about Messi and Ronaldo. If you ain't... One soccer player told me, if you ain't scoring, you ain't trying. Nobody cares about defense. Great lead pass. Berber City left-footed kick. Halterman gets it. Halterman sees the shutout in play, and if he can maintain his great play for 6 more minutes, he'll be credited with the blank sheet.
With the blank check? Is that like a blank check, I mean?
It'll be blank. It's a blank sheet on the score sheet. The goose egg. Is that why it was called Goose Gossage? Because every time he came in, there was always a goose egg still on the scoreboard after he left? Goose Gossage, of course, in the Hall of Fame. Lee Smith, I don't think is in yet. One of the best closers of that era, but Gossage is in, Suter is in, but not Lee Smith. But that's a topic for another day.
Chicago House did a good job just holding on to the ball now here. Not exactly putting the game on ice, but not a whole lot of urgency to get the ball upfield.
And I've been corrected. Lee Smith got into the Hall of Fame in 2019. I thought he was in, but I didn't remember.
There's a trip. A free kick for Berber City.
Substitutions. We've seen it before by Chicago, and they continue to play with that strategy. Isaac Carnala will enter the pitch, as will Daniel Hayes. As hugs going around by the bench players and the original starter. Last chance for Berber City to get onto the scoreboard.
That's not going to happen.
I don't need your negativity, partner. Okay? We're looking for positive Peters, not negative Neds.
So Chicago House is going to play excellent defense to maintain the shutout.
That's why Spider-Man was so good at his job, because he was a positive Peter. Yuck, 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 yuck.
I don't think I should quit my day job and be a comedian. Chicago House playing very conservative right now. Dunkel with it, looking for Halterman. He gets it to him. And good kick.
Well, it's a difficult chase game for Berber City. They're down a player.
They're keeping the energy up, partner. They do not want to be shut out.
They don't, and they're holding the ball to prove it.
They could just give up and just, kick the ball around, not give up a fourth goal. They don't care about the fourth goal. They want to score, make it 3-1.
Oh, I think they do care about that fourth goal.
Meanwhile, Chicago House maintaining the pressure. And did he fall on his own accord? The ref says yes. You always got to watch out for that in the game of soccer, players flopping. Now, soccer is a tough game to ref as well. It's so cardio intensive, and you want to be in the right angle to make the call.
Right, as opposed to a volleyball ref that just stands on a little ladder next to the court and never moves.
And they still blow the call.
Yes, they do.
Corner kick coming up for Chicago House. Deflected out by the goalie. It's still in play, though, and Chicago will play it on the corner. Briefly stolen by Berber. As it's kicked straight up, going after it is Shy House. Back out to the boundary. And Berber will play it.
Oh, a free kick.
We'll get a free kick coming up for Berber City. They have to hustle because they're not going to get much extra time.
Well, they hustled all right. Ball's back in play already.
We might get 3 minutes of extra time. There was a stoppage from the red card that was being issued on the sideline. But good job by the referees to keep this game in check and allowing the players to finish off the game. Sometimes when it gets really bad, the refs have no choice but to call it, but eventually
I think we're hearing the scuttlebutt. It's going to be 2 minutes of extra time.
Post-game interviews following the game. Those, of course, brought to you by SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone. Check out our website today at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com.
So Berber City just has one defender back. The goalie's up a bit.
I would personally just go all out here.
Just pull that goalie.
But you also don't want to put your goalie in a bad spot, give him a breakaway after how well he's played tonight. Corner kick coming up. Might be the last one of the game for Berb City. Shy House. The last couple games we've had for them, they have outscored their opponent a combined 9-0. Domination at its finest. If we include the Iowa Raptors game, that's 12-3. And remember, it was actually 3-1 with 5 minutes left in the match. So if you don't include the last 5 minutes of the match when they put in the subs, they've outscored their opponent 12-1.
Yeah, listening to all that kind of reminds you of Chicago House is definitely an underrated team. Maybe they just had a couple of unlucky bounces this year.
Well, it just shows you when you put in subs, and that's not the reason they lost the match, but when you put in subs, there's a reason why they're not starting. And even with 5 minutes left in the match, if the other team has the right type of forwards and a striker, they can score quickly. Got to make sure you're putting in subs that can also play defense. You want subs that are two-way players, but
Okay,
that's not
last
the
game
reason
of
they
the year,
lost the
you're up
match.
by 3, less than 2 minutes to go, probably more like 30 seconds ago, and the coaching staff is still very engaged with the players on the sidelines here.
Well, that's going to do it for Berb City. It'll either be a 3-0 loss, a 4-0 loss, or a 3-1 loss. Shot! Just a little bit high. If we were using a 10-foot net, that would have been a goal. You gotta love it from the coaching staff for Chicago House. They've clearly won the game, but they want to know how many extra time. Some little pushing and shoving at the boundary. Should be Berber's free kick. Got to get something towards the net if they want to score here. You got to consider blind passes at this point. If it gets stolen, you give them a breakaway, and that'll do it. Chicago House in their final game of the season. They don't get to the finals, but they have a great season in their first year in the Midwest Premier League. They finished the regular season with just 1 defeat, 5 draws, 5 wins. What a year for Chi House. Their only loss of the year came here. First game of the year against Steel City. That was 1-0. And after that, Chi Nation, Chi House was a great team all year. Final thoughts, partner, before we go to the post-game show.
Chicago House never gave up hustling, and that's what they do. It's just a shame maybe a couple of bad bounces cost them the playoffs this year, but their hustle is second to none. Their coaching style is terrific, pushes them to the very end. Even when you're up by 3 and less than 2 minutes to go, he's still pushing on those players. Very well-coached team. Have to say that Chicago Nation, unfortunately, is a very underrated team, but did well. This league is not easy. There's 12 teams in it, and they did finish 4th.
We'll take a break. Post-game interviews, we're going to get Georgie Spazov in the post-game show. You're watching Berber City against Chicago House here on SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone. (2010). Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final is taking place between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Philadelphia Flyers. The final result will be an overtime win in Philadelphia. If the Flyers end up victorious, they'll still have to win a Game 7 in Chicago. It's a 3-3 tie in the first overtime, meaning this has been a moderate offensive explosion with some decent defense and goaltending squeeze in between this hockey contest. This is a huge game for Blackhawks fans, as their favorite hockey team has been a laughingstock in the Western Conference for most of the previous decade. For the Flyers, they're looking to bring back Stanley Cup glory to the city of brotherly love for the first time since the 1970s. To truly understand the importance of what happens next, we need to hit that left button on the VCR. In other words, we need to rewind. The Blackhawks are an overtime goal away from cementing their legacy in NHL history. But for a franchise who used to not even televise its home games, this seemed like a pipe dream even 5 years ago. Known for his severe cheapness, Blackhawks former owner Bill Wirtz decided to cancel all home broadcast agreements with network and cable television outlets in 1992. According to Wirtz and the Wirtz Corporation as a whole, home broadcasts were, quote, unfair to the team's season ticket holders, unquote. And as crazy as this decision was by Wirtz, fan attendance increased during the mid-1990s. Incredibly, without normal home broadcasts and overall television brand awareness about the team, the Hawks averaged over 19,300 fans during the mid-1990s at the United Center. This is how it worked. WGN and other media outlets couldn't broadcast the Blackhawks games at the United Center. But if a national broadcasting network such as ESPN decided to telecast the game, a Blackhawk fan could purchase HawkVision, a subscription network worth $29.99 per month. Then you could watch the ESPN broadcast of Blackhawks vs. Red Wings at the United Center on normal cable television. It was pretty confusing, to be sure, and as you know, the internet wasn't big back then. If you were a big hockey fan and wanted to know about the Blackhawks, you either had to go to the game or wait for the hockey highlight on SportsCenter. Even then, hockey coverage wasn't big on ESPN, so it was in your best interest to purchase a ticket at the UC. So the fans kept supporting the Blackhawks even though they couldn't watch their favorite team on TV. However, the product on the ice wasn't so great. As if it were a curse from the hockey gods, the Hawks kept finding different ways to choke in the playoffs. An Original Six team, the Hawks were at one time the second most cursed Original Six franchise. The New York Rangers went titleless from 1940 until 1994, and the Hawks now find themselves in the same place as the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs and the Hawks have not hoisted Lord Stanley's Cup since the 1960s decade. For the Hawks, it's been even worse. They haven't won it all since 1961, and before that, Chicago went 23 years without hoisting the cup.
The Maple Leafs have been a borderline disaster since 1967, but at least the Leafs were a dynasty in the 60s. The Hawks were lucky to even win the 1961 Stanley Cup. So yeah, the Hawks have pretty much been mediocre or worse since 1961. However, there were moments when the franchise seemed destined for championship glory. The worst moment for Chicago hockey fans was the 1971 Stanley Cup Final against the hated Montreal Canadiens. Without air conditioning at Old Chicago Stadium, the Hawks were the home team during Game 7 of the Finals against the Canadiens. Jumping out to an early 2-0 lead, legendary netminder Tony Esposito couldn't stop Jacques Lamar's 60-foot-away snapshot, giving the Canadiens their first goal of the contest. Chicago Tribune writer Bob Verdi said there was a humid haze hung over the ice, but Esposito refused to blame the rink's lack of air conditioning on the soft goal he gave up. He had a point, since Lamar's shot was nearly from the center line. The Canadiens never looked back and scored twice more to upset the Hawks and win 3-2 on Chicago's home ice. Since then, the Hawks have never been closer to winning the Cup as they were that day in 1971. That is, until tonight anyway. As painful as it was in 1971, Hawks fans who were still alive in 1992 had to be devastated at what happened next to Ed Belfour and Dominik Hasek. Incredibly, Eddie the Eagle Belfour and Dominik the Dominator Hasek were both on the Blackhawks at the same time. Two future Hall of Fame goalies were both on the Hawks, and yet the franchise still couldn't win a Stanley Cup with either netminder. Belfour was the starter during the brief Belfour-Hasek years. The Hawks made the 1992 Stanley Cup championship round with Belfour and Hasek both on the roster. It was also a Chicago team with Chris Chelios leading the defenseman, and forward Jeremy Roenick was on this Hawks team as well. Led by captain Dirk Graham, the Hawks went on a very impressive winning streak in the playoffs. After falling to a 2-1 series deficit to the St. Louis Blues, the Hawks won their next 3 games against the Blues, as well as back-to-back series sweeps against the Detroit Red Wings and the Edmonton Oilers. Just like that, 11 consecutive victories saw the Blackhawks 4 wins away from ending up as the last team standing. The only team in their proverbial way, the NHL's version of the Super Mario Brothers, otherwise known as Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr. The Pittsburgh Penguins were the defending Cup champions, and after narrowly beating the Washington Capitals in Game 7 during Round 1, the Pens found their way in the finals thanks to winning 8 of their last 10 games. Hasek was probably Chicago's better goalie entering the playoffs, as the Dominator earned all rookie honors and went 10-4-1 during his 15 starts between the pipes. Between a contract holdout from Belfour and Crazy Eddie missing games this season due to personal reasons, Hasek was turning into a fan favorite, while Belfour was the more controversial choice at net. However, head coach and general manager Mike Keenan stuck with Belfour throughout the playoffs, and he turned out to be the best goaltender in the postseason not named Tom Barrasso. The problem is Barrasso plays for Pittsburgh, so it was up to Roenick and company to find consistent offense against the Eastern Conference's best goalie. It looked like the Hawks had the Pens right where they wanted them when they took a 4-1 lead during Game 1. But the hockey gods haven't liked Chicago since 1961. Whenever the Hawks can blow a postseason lead during crunch time, they like to do it. The Pens scored 4 unanswered goals on their home ice, including the game winner with just 13 seconds left in OT. A crushing 5-4 loss for the Hawks, and they never rebounded from it. It was a sweep for the Pens as the Penguins celebrated their championship victory at Chicago Stadium. Hasek even showed during the series that he still had some raw rookie moments, but Belfour clearly wasn't himself. Hasek subbed in for Belfour in Game 4 after Eddie the Eagle gave up 2 goals on just 4 shots on goal. Keenan had a tough decision to make between keeping Hasek and Belfour, but with Belfour 1 year removed from winning the Vezina and Williams M. Jennings trophies for best goalie, Keenan had no choice but to allow Hasek to become expendable. The Sabres then cashed in on the young goalie's athleticism by fleecing the Hawks with a terrible trade request. The Sabres received a future Hall of Famer in Hasek, and the Blackhawks received just future draft considerations and a goalie in Stefan Beauregard, who never played a single minute in the goalie crease. The future draft considerations eventually led to the Hawks drafting Eric Daze in the 4th round. Daze became an all-star left winger, but serious back and herniated disc issues saw the team's promising winger limited to just 74 games in 3 seasons after his all-star game appearance in 2002. He retired after playing just 1 game in 2005. That being said, Keenan didn't want there to be a locker room controversy between Hasek and Belfour, and it's easy to say in hindsight when no one knew how great Hasek would become. Unfortunately, Belfour wouldn't even finish his career in Chicago. The Hawks were worried that he would re-sign with the team, so they shipped him off to San Jose for 3 players I personally never heard of until I Googled them. Ulf Dahlin, Michael Sikora, and Chris Terreri. Terreri was put in the very tough position of trying to fill Belfour's shoes in net, and he never got close to reaching Belfour's milestone achievements. Blackhawk fans kept asking themselves, is this team cursed? The 1999 Stanley Cup Final pitted Belfour against Hasek as the Dallas Stars took on the Buffalo Sabres. Belfour eventually won the cup over Hasek in the series, although Hasek won more cups than the Eagle once he began playing for the Red Wings. The Blackhawks managed just one more Western Conference Finals appearance with Belfour in net, and they wouldn't get back to the Western Conference Finals until last season. No one ever wishes someone to die, but success seemed to reach the Blackhawks once Bill Wirtz passed away from complications of cancer on September 26, 2007. His son, Rocky Wirtz, took over the team, and during their first season with Rocky as the CEO, the Hawks finished above 500 for the first time in 6 years. With John McDonough as the president and Joel Quenneville as the head coach, the Hawks made it back to the playoffs and finished in the Final Four. The Red Wings once again got in their way and easily took care of the Hawks 4-1 during the 2009 Western Conference Finals. Entering the 2009-10 season, the Hawks decided they need a veteran forward who could score goals and match up against their biggest rival, the Detroit Red Wings. Marian Hossa signed with the Blackhawks, giving the Hawks a formidable 1-2-3 punch on line 1 on Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, Marian Hossa. That is, if they ever needed to use all three guys on the power play. The Hawks were a tough team to beat in 2010, and they finished just 1 point shy of the Western Conference leading Sharks, but the Hawks were the better team in the Western Conference Finals and swept the Sharks to make it to the Stanley Cup Final. Their opponent was an unlikely one, the Philadelphia Flyers. Entering the playoffs as a 7th seed, the Flyers had little title aspirations, but after the top-seeded Capitals were stunned in round 1 to the 8th-seeded Canadiens, there was new hope in Philly. The Flyers looked dead in the water when they trailed 3-0 in the Eastern Conference semifinals, but Simon Gagne returned for Game 4, and they definitely needed him as Gagne scored in overtime to force a Game 5. Brian Boucher was excellent as the Flyers starting goalie during Game 5, but he had to leave the game early due to knee injuries. As such, Michael Layton finished off Game 5 as the Flyers' new goalie and preserved the 4-0 shutout. Layton then got the start in Game 6 as expected, and he made the most of his opportunity by being perfect through 59 minutes until the Boston Bruins scored late. It was still a 2-1 win for the Flyers, and wouldn't you know it, the Flyers had a chance to win Game 7 and come back from an insurmountable 3-0 deficit. The Bruins actually led 3-0 in Game 7 at the TD Garden in Boston, but they simply couldn't avoid a significantly embarrassing collapse. James Van Riemsdyk, who didn't score a single goal in the playoffs prior to tonight, netted a very important goal late in the first period to give his teammates new life and ending the shutout attempt. The Flyers then scored 3 more unanswered goals to win a surprising 4-3 Game 7 over the Bruins, becoming just the 3rd team in NHL history to come back from a 3-0 series deficit. In fact, this had only been done once in any other American professional sport besides hockey. The Boston Red Sox defeated the New York Yankees 4-3 during the 2004 American League Championship Series. And now the Flyers are back in the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since 1997, looking for their first championship since 1975. The 1997 Stanley Cup Final was very interesting since it pitted the Flyers against the Red Wings, with both teams being in the Eastern Time Zone. The Flyers got swept in that series, with fans questioning if the franchise made the right decision all those years ago when they traded for former #1 overall draft pick Eric Lindros. Lindros scored just once in that series against the Red Wings, and it cost the Flyers a lot just to acquire him. They sent the Quebec Nordiques 6 players, 2 first-round picks, and $15 million in cash for only Lindros. The Nordiques eventually moved to Colorado, with the future Hall of Famer in Forsberg helping the Colorado Avalanche win 2 Stanley Cup titles. What did Lindros contribute? Just 1 goal in his lone Stanley Cup final, and his constant bad luck of suffering concussions, he suffered 4 during his career in Philly, inevitably led to him being traded to the New York Rangers. The Lindros trade was a huge gamble for the Flyers, and it cost them much-needed role players they probably could have used during their playoff runs in the late 90s and early 2000s. However, the Flyers probably wouldn't have made it to the finals without Lindros in the lineup, so there's a lot of give and take when debating if Philly should have traded for the future Hall of Famer. In a weird twist of fate, the Rangers tried to trade for Lindros, which would have included goalie Mike Richter. Richter was huge down the stretch for the Rangers during the 1994 Stanley Cup Final, which they won, so Rangers fans are probably very happy with the trade with Philly that was finalized prior to the Rangers calling up the Nordiques. But the Flyers are finally back in the Stanley Cup final, in large part due to the Flyers getting defenseman Chris Pronger in another blockbuster deal with Anaheim. It cost Philly 2 players and 2 first-round picks. History tells us that the Flyers love sacrificing the future for winning now, but this time around, it has paid its dividends in a big way. Pronger's 14 playoffs assists have allowed the Flyers to be 1 goal away from forcing a Game 7 in Chicago, their closest to a title in 35 years. The trade for Pronger was definitely an immediate success. Layton's 3 shutouts in the Eastern Conference Finals prove that he deserves to be in the league, but is he a franchise goalie? Not so much. One of the reasons that the Blackhawks are a goal away from the title is Layton can't recreate his magic from the previous round. In fact, Boucher relieved him in Game 2 and Game 5 due to erratic play, but head coach Peter Laviolette decided to stick with Layton in this pivotal Game 6. And to be honest, the Flyers felt comfortable about tonight. Both of their wins in the series were at home, and with the Hawks being led by 2 players under the age of 25 in Kane and Taves, they don't have a lot of experience in this pressure situation. It's up to former #1 overall draft pick Patrick Kane and Captain Taves to finish off the Flyers. Otherwise, it's back to Chicago for a winner-go-home Game 7, and Blackhawk fans know all too well how that panned out back in '71. All the pressure is really on the Hawks to close out Philly. They brought in hosts to
Welcome to the post-game show, brought to you by Sports Broadcast Solutions. My name is Kyle Smith, but my name doesn't matter. This man matters. John Alzate with the game-winning goal. He made it 1-0, and Chicago House AC wins 3-0 over their rival Berber City. This is a pitch that Berber City knows very well. This is their home pitch as well. You took it to them, a 3-0 win. What does that mean to you?
Well, this is our game field too, so we took it like this was our game field, and we make it, we respect it, and that's what we did in the game. Yeah.
It's getting pretty chippy in that second half. What does that mean to you, to this team, that you guys weren't doing the red cards, yellow cards, you were letting them do the damage?
Well, we were playing our game. We're keeping our game while we've been working throughout the entire week. So letting them play their game and trying not to get into their system and their fouls and trying to not get provoked by them, and that helped us to keep the ball and keep playing with it.
You guys seem to do that crash the net philosophy tonight. Get it to the left, and you kick it into yourself to, that 45-degree, 90-degree angle in front of the net. You get that first shot, then you get the rebound. Were you guys working on that crash and that philosophy in practice this week?
Yeah, we've been practicing a lot, playing through the middle, playing the striker, bouncing it back to the 10s, and opening wide, crossing a lot of the ball. And it's been working for the past few games, and it keeps working. So we're glad that the work throughout the week is showing off in the games.
Another shutout for Tony Halterman. He ends the season with 3 clean sheets. What does that mean to you, and what has he been working on in practice to make sure not only is he not giving up goals, but he's not giving up any goals this year?
Yeah, he's an experienced player. He helped us a lot in the back. Of course, like, he's the oldest in the team, and that's good. And then he keeps the younger guys in front of him organized, and then he keeps the goal on 0.
You guys were so close to going to the finals this year. A couple more breaks go your way. You score a couple more goals, or more important, a little bit better defense, not allowing any. You would have been in the finals. What does this team need to work on to be in that top 2 next year for the Midwest Premier League?
Well, one of the things that we need to work on is reacting. A lot of times, like, some of the game from 1-2 seconds that we let just the ball instead of us acting. So we've been trying to fix that for the last couple weeks, and this is a result of it. Today we came out strong and trying to react instead of letting the ball play, and that's gonna be the work that we need to keep going if we want to keep winning.
Final thoughts about the spring season as you guys get the fall and the transition process from playing in Bridgeport to now playing at IIT?
Well, I wasn't here throughout that, so I wouldn't know how to answer that. Right now, just glad that we finished winning at home, and we get to enjoy this break with a winning and with a streak of not losing 9 games. So.
Absolutely. You guys were great this year, and that does it for our post-game interview and our post-game show. So for John Alzate, Bob Vilsoe, I'm Kyle Smith signing off. A 3-0 win for Chicago House AC, and we'll see you in the fall. Welcome to the post-game show brought to you by Sports Broadcast Solutions. My name is Kyle Smith. More goals this year.
Yeah, he's an experienced player. He helped us a lot in the back. Of course, like he's the oldest in the team, and that's good. And then he keeps the younger guys in front of him organized, and then he keeps the goal on zero.
You guys were so close to going to the finals this year. A couple more breaks go your way. You score a couple more goals, or more importantly, a little bit better defense, not allowing any. You would have been in the finals. What does this team need to work on to be in that top 2 next year for the Midwest Premier League?
Well, one of the things that we need to work on is reacting. A lot of times, like some of the goals came from 1-2 seconds that we let just the ball play instead of us acting. So we've been trying to fix that for the last couple of weeks, and this is a result of it. Today we came out strong and trying to react instead of letting the ball play, and that's gonna be the work that we need to keep going if we want to keep winning.
Final thoughts about the spring season as you guys get ready for the fall and the transition process from playing in Bridgeport to now playing at IIT.
Well, I wasn't here for throughout that, so I wouldn't know how to answer that. Right now, just glad that we finished winning at home, and we get to enjoy this break with a winning and with a streak of not losing 9 games. So.
Absolutely. You guys were great this year, and that does it for our post-game interview and our post-game show. So for John Alzate, Bob Vilsoe, I'm Kyle Smith signing off. A 3-0 win for Chicago House AC, and we'll see you in the fall.